recording. Nice. In case I want to upload this as well. Exile League hype in Path of Exile. Good night, Marcus. Good luck. I'ma go bathroom real quick first.
När det dagliga dammet blir ett problem, då är det dags för Swiffer Duster. Effektiv.
Goodbye, Kirby. Maybe I'm just alone in this. Maybe Havel comes in. Why can't the ad play?
När det dagliga dammet blir ett problem,
Okay, it's 4 seconds.
då är det dags för Swiffer Duster. Effektiv mot alla typer av damm. Den
I
fungerar
hate ads, I hate ads, I hate ads. I'm missing the first few seconds.
Även på svåråtkomliga ställen. Det är dags att säga adjö till dammet. Swiffer Duster. Rent igen på nolltid.
31st. Twitch drops are enabled on today's livestream, so you'll be able to claim your Hiveborn crawler pet by following the instructions below. Without further ado, let's roll
Hello,
the
Havel.
Path of Exile, Keepers of the Flame.
I'm so hype.
We, the Keepers of the Flame, serve the will of the Dreamer. His instructions whispered from beyond the wall of sleep.
Oh, sick.
But now, the Hiveborn are here, on Raycross.
I need to lower the
seek
volume.
to poison our world.
It's looping in my so the mic picks it up.
We must close their breaches, destroy their hives, slay their breach lords.
This looks sick. Waves. That was insane. New zone. We haven't been there before.
And by his gifts, the Dreamer provides. They brought this war to our world, but we shall end it, whatever it takes.
Okay. The Genesis tree. Mysterious item womb. Rafts, what? New skills and supports, yes. Holy shit, that looks sick. Bloodline classes? What the fuck? 6 of them? 3 new Uber... Okay, it's the new trade system? Yes. Okay, that was very fucking quick. I'm so happy the trade system got in. Oh my god, I would have been so sad if trade didn't make it in.
Now, as you can see, this expansion is a true sequel to the Breach League, first introduced to the game in 2016. We felt like it was time to progress the story of Breach, bringing with it a slew of new updates to the base game. In today's stream, we'll take you on a deep dive into Path of Exile, Keepers of the Flame, beginning with the League mechanic, covering all the fearsome challenges it presents, and the new twisted ways you'll be able to empower your character. Okay. After that, we'll dive into the new ascendancy options possible with Bloodline classes.
10 Bloodline ascendancies?
And synchronous trade system coming to Path of Exile 1. Afterwards, we'll move into the new Uber Pinnacle bosses, how to access them, and some new drops worthy of the added difficulty.
They didn't say they're just the new bosses, but Uberfied.
Before moving on to our supporter packs and challenge rewards.
They probably are, but maybe they're not.
Where Ziggy D will ask Path of Exile's game directors Mark and myself your questions from Twitch chat. And
the
after
footage
the
looked a little bit weird.
Full patch notes at 11 AM New Zealand time or 3 PM Pacific. So let's get started. I'll hand things over to Mark to introduce the new league.
Hi, I'm Mark Roberts, game director on Path of Exile. Breach is a beloved league that has had an iconic history in PoE. We intend to honor that legacy with our first ever sequel league, Keepers of the Flame. This develops every aspect of Breach, adding new layers to discover, richer lore, scarier bosses, and entirely new mechanics. That said, This is still Breach, so you will still be opening breaches and slaying hordes of otherworldly monsters.
Good.
The Breach Lords have found the means to stabilize the connection between their realm and Rayclast. Now, with their grip tightening, we learn their true goal in our world: conquest. The threat they pose has now escalated to home soil.
These monster designs
On
look
the
so
coast in
fucking
Act
sick.
1, you'll encounter Aelith, the founder of the Keepers of the Flame. This is a monastic order sworn to defend Rayclast from the Breach Lords. The exit to the Mudflats has been barricaded by Hiveborn, Breach monsters that are working to claim every inch of Rayclast. Aelith can grant you a small spark of the power of the Flame, allowing you to blast away their barricade and move onwards.
Unironically, the zone is going to be easier without
Once you enter the
Throw
Mudflats,
us in
you'll
here.
find it infested with Breach monsters.
the zone is easier now.
They appear to be constructing a kind of hive, creating strange shapes and structures.
They
that
finally nerfed
absolutely
the
don't
hardest zone in the game.
Time to purge them with fire. Aelith needs you to protect her as she empowers the flame to do so. Hold off the assault long enough, and she'll be able to demolish the hive with cleansing flame. In other areas, the gap between worlds is strained. Here, you'll find a more familiar encounter with a new twist. A massive breach hand sunders the space between dimensions, and touching it will open an unstable breach, causing monsters to flood
Like the
in.
old one, yeah.
If you can slaughter them quickly enough, you can stabilize the breach. This brazen action can draw the attention of Vroon, Marshal of Zesht, who will do everything it can to stop you.
That's way less
Defeating
feels
this
bad.
boss will permanently seal the breach, severing another connection between the Breach Lord's world and Rayclast. These stabilized breaches are similar to what a breach once was, but with upgraded monsters, a success condition to shoot for, UI tracking to keep the player informed of their progress through the encounter, and satisfying feedback when you do manage to complete the encounter. We've taken all the lessons we've learned since the release of Breach 9 years ago and improved upon it in every way we can. However, much of the joy of Breach came from its simplicity. While we want to modernize the mechanic,
fuck is this build?
we don't want to undermine the core experience. You're still mostly just slaughtering hordes
it's
of
a Summer
enemies
Reaper.
in a circle. Finally, in endgame areas you might run into breach constructions that have been left unopposed for too long, and have grown into their full twisted glory. Breach hives.
Okay.
Towering flesh-crafted cities in the sky. These are the visions of the Breach Lords made real in Rayclast, teeming with breach monsters.
Holy shit, it
You
looks
must
sick.
raid and destroy these cities with the help of Aelith and her flame. In some of these hives, you may even encounter some of the Breach Lords themselves, who will not be happy you're intruding on their planned conquest. Now,
New skills for
let's
them?
talk loot. Of course, being an exile is hard work, and you're unlikely to help entirely out of the goodness of your heart. Fortunately, Aelith has power and rewards aplenty, born of the Breach Realm itself, to offer you for your assistance. Help her, and she'll bring you to the Monastery of the Keepers, the hallowed halls of her order. Here, you'll find the Genesis Tree, the growing heart of the Keeper's power. On interacting with it, you'll find that this tree has a tree. That's right. It couldn't be Path of Exile unless the tree also had a tree. More importantly, the Genesis Tree is an engine of unholy creation, and a profitable one. As you complete breach encounters and work more with Aelith, you'll be able to grow the Genesis Tree larger and larger, sprouting additional limbs. Each of these limbs, you'll notice, has their own inventories. These can be used for an unusual method of crafting new items. With this system, you'll be able to grow currency, uniques, equipment, and a new kind of otherworldly item, grafts. Grafts are breach hands grown directly from the Genesis Tree, born of the same flesh and sinew as the invading monsters. These fuse directly to your body, in a completely safe process. Don't worry about it. With grafts, you can harness the power of the breach. Some provide passive benefits like this, or this, but they can also grant a wide selection of powerful skills. These graft skills can provide a flexible way to fill gaps in your build, offering everything from damage to potent defensive buffs and crowd control. For example, the Battering All graft will call massive arms to erupt from the earth, stunning all those they hit.
That's an added fist damage, okay?
Power, you could consider the Squalling Tool graft. When commanded, this graft will cast Dance in the White, creating a deadly ice tornado which aggressively seeks enemies and fires off bursts of ricocheting projectiles when you critically strike with skills. For some further utility and a useful buff, try out the Storming Ash graft. This can be commanded to call down a ring of bolts from the sky that will leave behind the new Radiant Ground. Radiant Ground grants a potent damage buff to allies standing within it and makes their hit damage lucky.
Ooh. That is very, very
If you're
good.
simply after raw damage, look no further than the Erupting Zoth graft, which causes massive eruptions of fire where you command, which then re-erupt when you Warcry.
I thought this would be like a transfigured
There are a
version
total
of
16
Cremation.
different graft types you can grow, each with their own skill. You can even unlock a second graft slot as you progress through Aelith's questline, so feel free to mix and match Flesh Zone horrors to your heart's content. Now,
Oh, for
grafts
sure.
aren't just
Visual
here to
clarity
make you
will not
stronger.
be the best.
They are also your means of feeding the Genesis tree, which needs constant supplies of graft blood to grow anything useful. You can do this by defeating breach monsters, which will leave behind blood that your graft will automatically collect. When you feed this blood to the tree, your allocated passives will be put to work. This section of the Genesis tree can be used to grow new grafts for you, which the Genesis tree will then birth in a gruesome display. Basic passives on the tree might increase item rarity of birthed grafts, or the chance to birth additional grafts. These passives can target specific types of grafts, and this passive causes grafts to be birthed with a random amount of quality. Quality improves the amount of blood that can be stored by your grafts. This section of the Genesis tree births currency items. Basic passives can result in more or better currency.
How do we get
Allocate this
passives?
passive to sometimes cause a shower of currency to
They
burst
mention it, but
forth
how do
from
you
the
get
flesh of
passives
the
for each
tree.
individual tree?
Yeah, it's a bit gross, but working with the organic matter of a bunch of dead otherworldly creatures was never going to be a clean affair. Grafts themselves are born of a
Foul-born
different
orb of
world, so are
augmentation?
unmodifiable by most currencies. However, with this passive, the Genesis tree can occasionally grow fleshy mockeries of currency orbs.
Oh.
These function like augmentation orbs, regal orbs, or exalted orbs, but they work on your grafts instead of normal gear. Yep, it's graft crafting. Allocating this passive can result in foul-born currencies. This foul-born exalted orb, for instance, behaves as a normal exalted orb, except it guarantees a higher tier modifier.
That's
By
very
locking
good.
out a large portion of the lower rolls, a normal exalted orb would be able to hit. The largest
very,
section of
very
the
good.
Genesis tree is used to grow rare equipment items. For these, you have a lot of agency to influence the type and modifiers on your grown item. For example, you can specifically target boots with a dexterity requirement, with an increased chance for speed modifiers, and reduced chance for cold modifiers.
I see.
Or maybe you'd prefer to look for a two-handed axe with increased chance for physical modifiers. This section of the tree is for growing unique items. Similar to the equipment section, there are passives that let you target growing specific types of uniques or rarer uniques. The process of growth is not always a perfect one, however, and can result in some defects.
Okay.
This passive can result in birthed uniques becoming foul-born, which mutates one of the existing modifiers on the item into a new one, resulting in some interesting new ways to use that unique.
Can we do
For
like
example,
Chaos has no
this
sockets?
foul-born quill rain no longer has increased projectile speed, but instead has increased area of effect.
Oh, it's
Another
taken from a
foul-born quill rain
list.
could replace the mana gained on hit with the much more powerful modifier where insufficient mana doesn't prevent your bow attacks. Here are some other examples.
Okay.
This passive
Sure.
even gives a rare chance for Foulborn uniques to have multiple different modifiers mutated.
Okay, that's broken.
I'm sure you'll come up with some extremely powerful uses for these. We'll leave it up to you to discover what this mysterious part of the Genesis tree can grow. So, ultimately, you'll be slaying masses of breach
I'm
monsters.
down. I love getting
harvesting
really
blood with
strong
the aid
unique
of your
items.
grafts, feeding that to the Genesis tree, growing some items and better grafts, and back again to the slaughter. As with all our challenge leagues, this league will come with a set of 40 challenges to pursue, and completing them will award you with the Keeper of the Flame armor set.
I'm really
allowing you
hyped
to
for
truly embrace becoming a
the
monk and worshipping the dream.
the idea of just finding like uniques that
Now,
have different mods, and I'm like, I want to build around
the
this.
only new tools to play with. In 327, we're also adding a collection of new skill and support gems. Let's go over them now. Kinetic Rain is a new wand attack, which covers the ground in unstable kinetic energy. These hazards collapse at the slightest touch, releasing their energies into any unfortunate soul who happens to
I
be
think so
standing
too,
on them.
Evil, or it's gonna be
With
Maven
enough
specific.
projectiles and area of effect, an enterprising exile could carpet the world in dangerous kinetic
This
force.
looks really fun. It's also got good
Wall of
like
Force
visuals.
creates a barrier of kinetic power, causing allied projectiles to ricochet towards targets automatically. Drop one behind a boss and
Okay.
redirect the bolts of your armies.
Okay, they
I'm
fixed
sure
they
you'll
fixed
find
kinetic
ways to break
blast.
this one. Conflagration is a new bow attack which rains down fiery bolts from above that stick into the ground and pulse as you approach.
I might love
Once
this
you get
one.
close enough, these bolts detonate, causing ravaging ignites.
I might love this one.
These bolts chain react, allowing you to create fields of incendiary destruction.
My champion
Thunderstorm
ignite
is a bow
senses
attack,
are
which
tingling.
creates a whirling storm of wind and lightning where it
Oh
lands.
my god!
While
It's
you're within
fucking
the
D2
storm,
Sork.
it will rapidly grow until it becomes violently thunderous with lightning-infused clouds.
It's fucking
At this
D2
point,
Sork!
Leaving the storm will cause it to detonate, dealing damage to everything within and releasing a flurry of tornadoes in all directions. Attacking
so
with kinetic
cool.
fusillade will create hovering orbs of energy. These linger for a few moments above you before zipping off to nearby targets, chaining between them, then detonating.
Okay, I have so much I want to play
Living
with.
lightning support will bring to life living sparks of energy, elemental minions that zap through packs of enemies with speed and ease. Use these alongside your spellcasting to augment your pack clearing abilities, or find whatever means possible to cover the world in living sparks of ruin.
Okay.
Windburst support unleashes chaotic tornadoes as you attack, which ricochet around wildly and quickly.
Really visuals,
These
Clarity
deal
League for
moderate
sure.
damage as they travel, but will explode into a highly damaging burst when they expire. So it's a choice between scaling their duration up to get better coverage, or down to access the burst more quickly. Kinetic Instability is a support gem to go along with the new wand attacks that causes enemies slain to leave behind those same orbs of shimmering energy that Kinetic Rain creates. One might ponder just how many orbs you can create if you were to use both. In 327, Exiles will be able to absorb the power
What the
of some
fuck
of
is
the
this?
bosses they defeat. These take the form of new Ascendancy class options, called Bloodlines.
Options?
Bloodline classes are a new means of character customization in the endgame. They are secondary Ascendancy classes that are unlocked by defeating specific endgame bosses. They are allocated with your normal Ascendancy points, and you'll have to choose how many of your points go into the original Ascendancy and how many into your Bloodline class.
That's so cool.
This means there is a nigh limitless ability to mix
Okay,
and match,
Assassin got way better with that.
as you could choose to invest just a couple points into your Bloodline, or max
Assassin
it out.
makes so
And
much
you could
more
take any
sense.
Bloodline with any base Ascendancy class that you see fit.
I was like, I just want the
unlock
2
your
poison
Bloodline,
notes.
Hunt down the endgame boss whose power you desire, and defeat them. Or have a friend help, and claim the power for your own. There are 10
That's
Bloodline
so
classes
cool.
to discover.
Oh my god, in Delve as well,
For this power,
all?
typically associated with past leagues.
That'd be
giving
so
additional
funny
reasons
to be like, you have to
get into
fucking get all? Oh
Let's
my
run over a few
god!
examples. The Chaos Bloodline will be offered to you by the Trial Master, if you manage to succeed his final challenge.
This is so fucking
With this
cool.
blessing,
I love
you
this.
can greatly augment your Vow skills in different ways. Priest of Yalmak lets you use Vow skills much more often. while Priest of Kopek makes it harder to build up Val skills, but makes them far more powerful. Or take Corruption's Embrace, which grants more Val Keystone powers the more corrupted items you have equipped. The Ashabi bloodline can be gained by, you guessed it, defeating Ashabi. Her abilities are drawn from the 3 types of life force that manifest within as Marian spirits. The Wild Bear rewards you with adrenaline for generating rage. The Vivid Cat gives your elusive buffs a chance to refresh, as well as making you more stealthy while elusive.
Very good if you want to be a clear master.
The Primal Owl allows your unleashed spells to reoccur many additional times, and get stronger for each time they reoccur.
Yo! That
The
one's
Nameless
crazy.
bloodline comes from the King in the Mists. Be forewarned, his menacing power comes at a great cost. With the Unseen Hand, you can equip a 3rd ring,
Nice.
but you'll have to decide if that comes at the expense of having no amulet, no belt, or no flasks.
You're never
Unlike
picking no
Silhouette, it's
flasks.
a hefty life cost to all your spells, but they deal additional chaos damage based on the amount of life spent. Of course,
Base mana
there is
cost.
more to come. What powers might you glean from delving deep underneath Rayclass to fight all the Crystal King? What secrets can you learn from Lycia, Herald of the Scourge, waiting at the end of the Forbidden Sanctum? As you can imagine, there are countless possible combinations with the system.
There's probably some bullshit you can
could be
do
a
with it.
Slayer that embraces corruption
But
and vile
on
power.
average, it doesn't sound
Perhaps
worth it. It's
you'll play
like
an
if you need a
occultist
specific
that
unique or
doubles
something.
down on their dark power by integrating the Nameless bloodline. We are excited to see what crazy and interesting builds players come up with. In the most recent Path of Exile 2 expansion, the 3rd Edict, we introduced a much anticipated feature, fully asynchronous trade.
Yes.
It was a fantastic success. So now we're excited to announce that we'll also be adding this feature into Path of Exile 1.
Good.
When you reach
All the
Act
trade
6,
Andes can stop
you'll be
complaining,
able to find
and I can feel way
Faustus
better
in
about
Lionel's
migrating to
Watch.
trade later in the league.
Previously, he just operated the currency exchange. Now, he will also act as a steward for your merchants tabs.
It's always
These are
like
where
when
you
the
can
league is
place
kind of
items
dead that
for
I want to
sale
migrate.
for direct and instant purchase by other players even when you're not online. To list an item, simply place it in the tab and select a currency and an amount.
I'll let you know.
Once listed, other players will be able to find the item by searching for
Yeah,
it
this is
via
a
the
big
trade
deal.
website.
Makes a
Or the
huge
new
difference for
in-game
smaller
market
player-based
search.
economies.
To purchase something for yourself, it's as easy as hitting this button, which will
Yo!
teleport you to the seller's hideout, where you can view their merchants tabs, buy the item, and
Okay,
also
that's
view
so
the rest
good.
of their wares in case something else catches your eye. Every purchase costs
I
a
love
small
that.
fee of gold, as Faustus takes his cut. To account for this further drain on gold, acquisition and cost balance elsewhere in the game has been adjusted. Anything
Better
you've
for
managed to sell
SSF?
successfully will have your profits collected here, in a separate tab to claim at your leisure. To be clear, previous means of trading, such as via pre-existing premium stash tabs,
Buying
and the
div 1 to
website,
500,
will
selling
still
div 1 to
function just as
600.
before. Merchants
don't buy
tabs
them!
And the asynchronous trading that comes with them are an entirely additive feature on top of the already existing methods to trade.
Please.
You might find yourself needing the trade system to buy some upgrades, because this update also introduces 3 new Uber Pinnacle boss fights. These encounters are manifested from the memories of Zana, and in her long torment, they have festered into something truly deadly.
Okay, it is just them. I wasn't sure.
These fights offer an imposing challenge, alongside powerful rewards. In order to gain access, similar to existing Uber Pinnacle fights, you'll
Please
need
increase
to
the drop
discover
chance.
fragments dropped by Tier 17 map bosses.
Oh yeah, Whispers of
Each
Infinity is in
attempt
the
at
Uber
new
version for
Pinnacle
sure.
Fights will require 5 of these. Let's dig into some of the challenges you'll need to face in these new Uber versions. In the original incarnation of Neglect fight, the statues can be used to block the laser beams to hide behind, giving you an opportunity to avoid being shocked, frozen, or killed. When you run near these statues, they activate and allow you to reposition them. While activated, they will not stop the lasers, meaning you want to position them well, then avoid them. However, In the Uber version of this fight, instead of being a safe haven, the statues will refract the laser beams, causing a ruckus of energy to cover the arena. Activating them will prevent the refraction, so unlike the base fight, where you want to position them well and then avoid them, you'll be wanting to constantly keep these statues active. But then, you have to deal with their assault of attacks. While fighting the incarnation of fear,
That's cool.
these fiery orbs will slowly clutter up the arena.
I fought
locking
these
off
bosses
portions
so
of it
much.
until you bait the boss into detonating them himself with
Yeah.
his thrown spear. When Uberified, these orbs are attached by a flaming leash to the boss,
Yo, that's so
rotating around him
sick.
constantly. More and more will spawn
Okay, these
as the
still look
fight
really
goes
easy
on,
though.
making
Or
it
the
even
first
more
one doesn't, but
imperative
this one
that
still
you
looks
clean them
easy.
up by cleverly using the boss's abilities against him.
It depends on how strong
Normally
the
in the incarnation of Dread fight,
Legion is.
during the bullet hell phase, you have to acquire a red rose, run it to the boss, then collect a blue rose, doing the same, causing it to get heavy stunned and interrupting its mechanic. In the Uber version, you have to do the same, but in order to get the blue rose, you have to defeat the incarnation of neglect. And to get the red rose, you have to defeat the incarnation of fear.
Okay, this one is fucked. This one is fucking evil.
Given the difficulty of these bosses,
That one is
their
fucking
rewards should be
evil. It's
working.
already the hardest
Let's
phase.
take a look at some. From the Uber incarnation of neglect fight, we have
Reflect,
Bitter
retaliation.
Instinct, a spiky shield that turns retaliatory strikes into preemptive ones,
Okay.
making it just a matter of time
That's
before
very,
the long
very,
arm of justice
very
crushes
strong.
your foes. Alternatively, you might find Festering Resentment, a poisoned blade with an unending
Okay,
supply of
assassin
toxins
bait.
built into the hilt. These toxins are put to good use, causing every spell you trigger to be capable of poisoning with all damage it deals, enabling a truly crazy
I
trigger.
mean, I won't play it
poison
on.
ruckus.
That's glad bait.
And from the Uber incarnation of Dread, the Hallowed Monarch, a counterpart to the Dark Monarch.
Oh yeah,
which
I was
focuses
thinking
more
that
heavily on
the
investing into one or a few
that the links were
minions,
functioning
rather
differently than
growing
normal.
rewards to massive proportions.
Interesting.
Storm Rayclast with your chosen few at your side.
I
Stealing
mean,
power
Reaper
from
looks
your
dog shit
enemies as you
anyway,
go.
but this looks fine.
We've got a number of quality of life changes to bring to 327 as well. Many of which you may have seen already in some of our pre-livestream teasers, but for those who haven't, Heist is a mechanic which has long frustrated some
Anything new here?
players
We'll see.
who may otherwise have been interested in the rewards it has to offer, but have no desire to grind through the early progress of finding and running low-level contracts.
If they
to
added
get
this
all
during
the growth to
Mercenary
their
League, it would have
maximum
been
level.
so absurdly broken.
Well,
I'm happy it
starting
wasn't
in
in there.
327, Heist Rogues will automatically begin at maximum level.
Good, good.
So you can start your dubious criminal career without all the busy work.
I wonder what builds
Points
are
invested
enabled by
into
having
your
3
Atlas
unique
passive tree
rings.
will now
There's probably
be
a decent
refundable
number
with
of
gold.
builds. There's like a
Just
reverse
speak to
shield
character to do
bullshit.
so.
Your channel is gonna make me
players who
disable
love jumping
Frank
between strategies,
PC.
there's
I'm
also
sorry,
an
man.
option to
I think it's
instantly
really
refund
funny.
your
Every time you
entire
see
tree,
something that's a word that
which of
becomes a
course
different
can now
word, the
also be
opposite
done
will make
with
it the
your
word you
regular
want.
passive tree as
So
well.
now you know you have to write
Now you
Fank
can make
and you
all
get
your
fuck
decisions
instead,
with no
which is equally
regrets.
funny.
Well, maybe some regrets. You no longer need to purchase bestiary orbs. You can now itemize beasts for free directly from your bestiary.
That's fair.
From late Act 1, you can now mass
This
identify
is so
your
cool,
items
though.
at an NPC in every town. And from Helena in your hideout. This does not require Scrolls of Wisdom at all.
I'm really hyped for this.
While using an Alteration Orb, you can now hold Alt to swap to using an Augmentation Orb, if one is available. Opening a Blight Chest.
I hope
will
there's some
now
tree
open
changes
all other
and
Blight Chests
main
now.
ascendancy changes, not just assassin.
Rogue's
I doubt there's
disenchanting
just assassin.
services can
They
now
said
be accessed from towns and hideouts. Kerak missions now have a handy icon
Yeah.
to show at a glance what kind of mission they are.
also nice.
Holding down Control and right-clicking on stacked decks will now
one's
continuously open them to your inventory, notifying you in chat what the outcome is. If you still want to open them direct to the ground, to let your loot filter provide a dose
Trickster's
of dopamine,
less
you
broken.
can still do that too by also
I shouldn't say
holding
that,
shift.
but
Val
He might
orbs
actually
can be
be-
used on
I don't know.
monsters encased in essences, to the same effect
doesn't
that
have a
remnants
2
of
power.
corruption have.
He doesn't have a 2 power, that's absurd. So having the alternate ascendancies doesn't benefit him as hard
When
necessarily
multiple skill
as
gems are
for
ready
some
to
other
level at the
characters.
same time,
He really wants to
you'll
use
now be
all
able
of
to
the
click
points.
this button to
But
level
like,
them all up at once.
Assassin, if you want to go Poison for example, he doesn't have anything good
Next
after the
up,
4
we're
points
going to be
spent on
talking
that. So
about
the
our
new
new League
alternative
supporter
ascendancies
packs.
will benefit him harder.
Today,
Stuff like that.
we're launching 2 new series of supporter packs. The Champion of Theopolis and the Verdant
Abel,
Magus packs.
I'm very much leaning
Each tier
to
contains
Champ
the
right
pack's full
now.
face value in points, alongside several
Champ and, like,
exclusive microtransactions. As always,
unless-
the microtransactions in these
I'll definitely
packs are
POB
purely
it, but we'll
cosmetic
see if it's what I
and do
land on.
not
I doubt
affect
it's
your
what I
character's
land on,
power
but
or
I'm
progression
leaning
in
to
any
the
way.
Bleed Bone Shatter
The
build
Champion
that
of
Soul
Theopolis
was playing
series
in the
of supporter
Gauntlet.
packs contains 6 exclusive microtransactions.
We'll see what pops up, what balance changes they do.
Manifest a champion's ferocity as the
that
lion's
Bleed
might
build is
unique finisher
absurdly
effect
good.
rips your enemies to shreds.
I looked at his
Open the
previous
Champion of Theopolis portal to end your crusade through
Gauntlet
maps in the
versions, 'cause
style
he's played the
expected
build like
of
6
a true
leagues in a
victor
row,
of the
and
arena.
I'm super sold on how strong it is.
Defeat your enemies like a true gladiator, wearing the Grand Champion of Theopolis armor set. The armor awarded only to the most elite warriors of the Grand Arena. Take charge of the situation and storm into combat with the Flaming
Yeah,
Minotaur's
this one is
Quicksilver Flask
so
effect.
fucking ugly.
The Champion's Podium map device rises up to honor the glory you've achieved as you activate it.
Ascend the stairs and stand
Oh,
atop
I'll
the
definitely be
platform
looking at a
as you
ton of
enter your
random
maps.
shit, even
Each
discounting
flame
any
surrounding
potential
the
balance
platform
changes.
represents a remaining use on your portal. The
I really
Burn
hope there's
Back
wide
Valley
balance changes in
carries
general
all
to the main
supplies necessary
sentences and
for a
stuff.
campsite as he travels behind you in battle. When placed in a hideout, instead of roaming around like your other pets, their supplies are deployed, creating a small camp where you can access your stash and providing a place to take a load off while you rest next to the campfire. The Verdant Magus series contains 6 exclusive microtransactions.
This one looks the coolest.
Having Faustus sell your items on your behalf is great and all, but sometimes you just want to feel a little bit more shady about your dealings. The Back Alley Trader hideout decoration is more secretive with your trades, creating
This one's
distance
great.
between you and
I
your
love this
customers.
one.
Note that until 327 is released, this Back Alley Trader will only serve as your currency exchange. Once it's out, it will be updated to have the new Managed Shop option to also facilitate your trades. The Verdant Wayfinder pet is a loyal companion to any Master Magus.
Cute, but I
As
don't
you
like
approach
playing with pets.
waypoints, it envelops them with its vines, guiding you throughout Rayclast. Control Earth and nature itself, as the Great Verdant Magus armor set envelops you in the ancient power now lost to time. There's also a matching back attachment included.
That looks fucking sick. I need more nature
Remnants
stuff.
of the forest ripple out from within you with the Verdant Magus level up effect equipped, restoring life to the corrupted land. Call on an ancient golem to use their power to
Yeah, I
create a
love it
safe
too.
passage for you to retreat through with the Arcane Golem portal. As a Supreme Verdant Magus, you can travel to your Arcane Isle hideout. A cluster of islands held together by ancient magic passed down between elite mages.
Cool.
Stand atop your tower and relish the great heights you've reached above those who have not harnessed the arcane. These packs are now available for purchase
That
on
hideout
both
is
PC
fucking
and
sick.
console,
I'm-
and will remain so during Path of Exile.
Having
Keepers of
disposable
the Flame.
income is a problem.
Additionally, any microtransactions from these supporter packs will be made available for use in Path of Exile 2. Meanwhile, the Crypt Keeper and Frisian Magistrate packs leave the store forever at the launch of the Keepers of the Flame League, so now's your last chance to purchase them. Thank you so much for your ongoing support.
Yeah, fair.
We're
That's
just
fair.
about to start the Q&A
Sucks to be
with
both
Ziggy
of
D.
us, right?
Afterwards, we'll post the full patch notes for Path of Exile, Keepers of the Flame, at 11 AM New Zealand time, 3 PM Pacific. With release at the end of next week,
It must
our
be so
community
tough having
team will
money.
be
I
posting
spent
crucial information you'll need
I
for the
spent
release.
1,000
Keep an eye on the
euros
news.
on a share
Thanks for joining us
recently,
today
and I feel so
checking
bad
out our
about it.
latest developments. We're looking forward to
But
holding
it's
off the Breach Lord's
really good,
conquest,
so it's probably a
crafting
worthwhile
gruesome
investment for my
drafts,
back.
planning dozens of Bloodline-empowered builds, and filling out our tree's tree. We hope you all join us.
But I still, like, I'm not on the level where I'm comfortable spending money. Okay, I gotta go bathroom real quick, but I will watch the Q&A. So I'll just be gone in like a minute.
G'day Exiles, and welcome to the post-reveal discussion and Q&A with Jonathan and Mark, lead guys who make games, I believe was what we discussed as the titles.
Yeah,
That's
official
the
title. Yeah.
Excellent. I like it, it's good. We're talking about how to inflate their titles in the lead up to this. 327 Keepers of the Flame, the reveal we just had there was, I think, quite a banger, but I've been even more impressed with what I've been playing here in the office with some of that, so we'll get into that in a moment. But I'm curious, this is kind of like a special kind of reveal day for PoE 1 fans, as I think it marks a return to schedule for us. You announced this plan to do the 4-month cycle for the games, two twos, and it seems to be working.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly hard, I'll tell you that, right? Like, it can be pretty brutal on some of the stuff when it's like, every 2 months you got a deadline. But yeah, I mean, look, we have to do it, right? Like, I mean, that was always the intention, to get, the regular schedule. It's super important. So we have to make it happen. We have to make sure that is something that we can do going forward. But yeah, I would, like, I'm honestly, I'm so happy that we managed to, to get everything back. And I think it helps a lot.
I think, like, things feel a lot less, like, crazy here this visit for me, like, and things seem a bit more of a finished state as well. So.
Well, we're putting a lot more effort into getting that production process down, making sure that everything's going well. Like, we're hiring producers at the moment, just by the way.
Sorry,
if anyone's out there,
I got too rapid for a second.
Look at as a for a production job. It's something that we're really concentrating on, making sure that because when you've got a schedule like this, when it's this tight, you have to be really, really careful, because like, I would say one of the hardest things that we didn't expect, trying to make sure that we get the schedule this short, is you start to become really vulnerable to just like random things, like this person gets sick or like something like that, and that's like suddenly it's like a real challenge. So that's been real hard to adapt to. But yeah, I mean, honestly, we have to do it.
Because PoE 2's 030 kind of, we missed it by a week or two as well. Like, normally that's okay. Yeah, you slip a week or two, but now all of a sudden, now you got a bit 2 week more overlap.
You gotta check how far is it until the patch notes?
Yeah, it certainly has less room for error, but again, that's why more production staff should help, and we are just going to get better at it.
They said 3 p.m.
But yes, we made
New Zealand
it
time
to 3:26 and now 3:27, mostly on schedule, give or take. One was, you could argue one's an anomaly, 2 is a
11
pattern,
New Zealand time, right?
Yeah, it should
not
continue as normal,
3 p.m.
but yeah, we'll get better at it 100%, so we'll work out the kinks, but there's always going to be some growing.
We won't get the new Ascendancies fully revealed? Oh my god.
I
can kind of respect that, though.
Exile, so.
Yeah, I remember.
It becomes like a boss race thing in a really cool way.
A year that was crazy. So 6 is pretty wild, but it seems to be happening.
Well, I mean, they become.
Is the contingency just that, like,
data mined?
You just might delay.
It kind of sucks.
I don't want to. I really want to be real strict about it. Like,
we said we'd stick to the time and adapt the content around the time. Like, consistency is key. I'm
so fucking excited. I'm going to be doing so much theory crafting at work.
Still our current philosophy and plan. So yeah.
I think you were telling me once before, Jonathan, that when you have that for a while, it kind of helps everyone get an idea of, like, scoping a lot better.
Yeah, absolutely. Content, like, I mean, look, it helps with everything, right? It helps with the players just feeling the consistency. It helps with like developers. Like, it's just overall like a way better state to be in.
Yeah,
so,
I think the
Breach 2.
The thing Crypt told them those many years ago that you should just like have a consistent schedule
sequel league in PoE.
is what's been the best thing for the studio.
Stuff in PoE 2. There's like definitely follow-ups there, but this is the actual first true sequel league, and it seems like people are pretty keen on the idea. I think the reception's been pretty good so far.
Wasn't there the Betrayal sequel thing? Was that wasn't the league theme though? That was like a secondary thing, right?
I would say
the Betrayal rework.
So whenever you do a sequel, you're entering a dangerous territory, because people who didn't like the original could then now be like, oh, I'm disappointed because like as soon as they hear that it's a sequel to something they didn't like, they're like, it's not. So
I guess the scope was too small to be considered a sequel league.
I would say is a pretty popular one, so like there's less danger there. Yeah. But effectively, in order to make a sequel to something,
it wasn't a league. It was just a huge rework.
Back when you did it, so that people actually are definitely on board from the beginning. In general, I'd say we'd prefer to do stuff that's like new, but I think this one was a good fit. It was a good example of something to do, and yeah, people are liking it. So
it's I mean,
it's surprising they did Breach first.
Some leagues are more divisive than others. Some have more kind of X factor out there gameplay. With the whole Blight Tower defense and some of them are more maps and a bit more crazy, and immediately you do turn off some people, and we know that going in. When we make these, we try and make it something good for everyone, but Breach had that, just like you're just slaying hordes of monsters, you're just killing. It's the classic. We talk about reinventing the wheel here. We talk about not reinventing the killing monsters in circles, and it has that. And by the way, that is a massive thing when doing the sequel.
Yeah, I agree. It is more of a rotation.
Killing
I also
monsters
dislike Scourge compared to Beyond.
The last thing I want to do is, and this is another risk of a sequel,
I feel like Scourge, the bosses are so annoying.
So we really focused on the weaknesses of what Breach had, because it was 9 years ago, almost to date. I think it was. I think it was December 9 years ago. So we're almost there.
That they take so long to like pop up
for a moment there.
My back, ow.
And I actually still remember working on it. It does not feel like it was that long ago. I made those 5, the 5 Breach Lords back when, and put together all the monsters and all that interesting stuff back then. And I was like, what was I doing? Like we took the player characters.
There's something about the Blood Texture Cannibal with Turbo Regional Age. God, I remember those. I was so goaded with the fucking stupid mobs you could spawn.
This is obviously a given. But
important.
We've coming with like 9 years of lessons learned. Including with all the lessons learned from PoE 2 as well.
Also, Abaxoff
is
like, way cooler than any of the current bosses
that we didn't know back then. And it's like, okay, let's not sabotage the gameplay, the killing of monsters, the killing monsters in a circle, and let's focus on the weaknesses.
None of the current ones have the factor of me going, oh shit, when I spawn him. And Abaxoff, until the very moment where they removed him, like the last league, you had that X factor, and then the last league we were like so power crept that
focusing on that,
there was no point during the league where I was like,
focusing on
oh fuck no, he's scary. Like I just like kind of loaded into maps and I spawned and I was like, oh, I could kill him.
You'll find that might be less trivial with some of the other contents that's a little bit more like crazy with respect to combat, but we'll see.
I'm definitely eager to dive into like basically all of the things you mentioned there. But out of interest, what's like a league mechanic or a expansion that you either would or wouldn't want to see?
Death and Taxes is such a boring.
Like, what would be a bad example? It's maybe interesting.
Well, I think the one that you said there with the tower defense stuff, it's just like that would be very divisive, right? Immediately, if we said doing a sequel and PoE 1 to that, there'd be immediately a bunch of people would be like, yeah,
I like Blood.
I know.
I think you'll get both ends of this. I think you'll get the most passionate people wanting it, and then you'll get the most people that hate it on the other side.
right.
For sure. That being said, like, it isn't like, oh no, that means Blight's never getting improved.
Right.
There's differences between overhauling and improving a league, and there's and obviously doing a narrative sequel where you kind of step away from some of it, and so really here it's like, yes, Blight, there's so many leagues, right? Insert all of them.
I hope the boss isn't too easy.
Sometimes it'll just be quality of life, similar to what we've done with Heist this time round. Because honestly, that might.
I hope it's closer to an Uber boss than a normal boss.
And then other times it'll just be an upgrade.
I certainly
let's give it 3 tiers, like the PoE 2 bosses.
Definitely not. Like I don't think it's going to be the most common thing. I think it's just a thing we decided to do here, and maybe we'll do it again sometime. But most of the time, I think people want new stuff and different new things.
I like the revisits. So I wonder. There's definitely some
ask about rebalancing.
Like I feel like Harbinger, for example, touched on some stuff that was maybe only scratching the surface.
Part of what allows us to do the sequel here, by the way, and from a more production point of view, is that because we did the Twisted Domain and the new Breach monsters in PoE 2. We got to utilize the monsters. So we didn't take the bosses from PoE 2. We made full from scratch boss fights for this for Keepers of the Flame. Okay. But for the monsters, a lot of it's reusing the models, the animations, the rigging, a lot of the art side of it. And because we get to do that, we get to then focus our attention on all those other things that we would otherwise have to have a bunch of resources dedicated to. So like there's a kind of like 2 birds, 1 stone going on there where we not only got to do it, we got to do it in a more cost-effective way that allowed us to focus on other features that are going in the expansion. So, win-win for players and for us in that regard. But it would be less trivial with other sequels or to other leagues where we don't necessarily have all the monsters and everything made like that. So, not to say it's impossible, but it's just an interesting factor that came up that allowed us to do more here than we might, if we don't forward think enough or forward plan enough, and I mean quite far
Constantly
in advance.
produce assets that will be used eventually as a philosophy. Yeah, they
short-term process.
They have the privilege of having a content cycle
just
that
a kind of fun internal kind of consideration that we made.
That they
interesting thing here as well
can be reasonably sure that all of it will see use, or at least a large enough percentage that's better to have things done in advance than to backfill it like when the demand is there. At least wherever possible, right? So it makes sense that having a constant like treadmill like that in a game like this, where they can find a way to incorporate it, is healthier than in a lot of other games.
Also, there's this lore kind of exploring the idea that they helped humanity at some point.
Probably a big keystone to why they can get so much out.
Is kind of filling out the story,
as well as all the reuse, of course.
Here? Maybe explaining some of the stuff.
It 100% is. That was a huge other win we got to do here, because really there was like, okay, there's the breaches in PoE 1, previous to Keepers of the Flame, and then there's kind of breaches in PoE 2 with the Twisted Domain, and it's like, wait, how did we get here? What happened?
How do we get here?
It's 25 years. It's what's going on here? So we wanted to, given again, because 9 years ago we weren't really putting that much into the narrative of leagues and into you'd find back then. We're not far.
Synthesis
from
was the
Onslaught
point where they started caring about the storytelling of leagues.
Anarchy, there was Exiles, but like there's named characters, but we didn't really have voice acting for anything. We've kind of stepped up our game in a lot of delivery of that. So now we get to, come back and go, let's establish a bit more about Breach. Obviously, there's uniques and flavor text historically, but yeah, we got to establish a little bit
before
more,
after Synthesis.
add some interesting stuff to it. Meanwhile, also,
Betrayal.
Progressing the narrative towards what if people are playing PoE 2 see. Now, that being said, if you just play PoE 2, you don't need to know all of this. If you just play PoE 1, good on you. You now know it all. It's all entirely optional information to know, but you kind of have this. Worth noting, on the kind of Chiola arc, there's a bit of like, is he good, is he bad kind of thing going on. Still to be determined.
Yeah, we read the front page of Reddit posts.
I've got a cult following, but that doesn't necessarily mean one way or the other, does it?
He was a baddie here. You're an acolyte of Chiola over there.
Yeah.
What goes on in between?
But I was reading the flavor text of the acolyte of Chiola this morning, and I'm like, even that doesn't really kind of suggest that maybe it's not a good idea to be following them, but but there's power.
But the monastery of the Keepers of the Flame is actually where the monk trained and from PoE 2 grew up and all of that stuff. So kind of little fun bits there. People playing both games will appreciate it. It's still great. It's going to be great in either game, and it allows us to develop. So because look, they're both set in Ray class, it's still a shared narrative, and it's nice to be able to evolve all of that. And it's honestly been fun, really, honestly, doing all of that.
It's cool to expand kind of some of the story of the Ascendancies there as well. You're getting a bit more of a tie in there as well. But you said the monks trained there, though. I thought you were just telling me earlier that the monks trained here in the studio. So
technically now, officially, the monk has been trained by one of our IT administrators here, since he was the person he's I'm not sure what the martial art is, but he's very well trained. I believe a black belt, and we used him for our mocap reference.
That's so cool.
Hopefully he doesn't mind me mentioning that, but it was
awesome.
quite fun. I think our animators enjoyed that one a little bit as well. So
that's awesome. You guys hadn't really done too much of that in the past, or?
You mean mocap?
Yeah,
I mean, the animators always film visual references, so they've got a room basically where they go up and they're just doing all the animation, acting out. They're often not actually mocapping technically with all of the suit and everything, but they're often filming that and then doing animation to it.
I'd say one of the most useful pieces of technology that we've been able to benefit from is it's a literally single phone shot mocap, and very quick from recording to in-game animation. It works really well for animating, obviously, humans, but also for when it's involving just a single human. It's ultra quick. If you have two and they have to interact and make contact, it's not very good at handling that, but it's been insanely fast. So you just get a single small tripod with a phone, and you can record a human in chucking in game pretty rapidly. So that's been amazing, and honestly, almost all of the human animations you'll now see in game, where it's
I love
not
how he leveled that
someone
up like
punching
4
or hitting
times.
another
It's like
person. So
some
like,
of almost all, some
know,
of
the
a
best
lot,
for combat
almost all
and
of the
kind
models.
scripted cinematic
Or animations
interactions
are
between
from that.
characters, but just those kind of freestanding town idols and all of that stuff, yeah, you can do pretty rapidly now. It's been a pretty big improvement, I'd say, in a cool way. So
Yeah, and I mean, you're getting like PoE2 quality stuff in Path of Exile 1 as well. Like, I've definitely seen things like that's a lot more going on there than there usually is in PoE 1. You were just talking about the fact that the original bosses were just exiles with extra color filters on them, right?
I mean, everything new that goes into PoE 1 like has been a lot higher standard than some of the early stuff for a very long time, right? Because it's not like you have people being like, oh, you know what, I'm going to make this worse quality because it's going in PoE 1. Like, obviously they're going to make something look as good as we can.
Don't
make
say
it, right?
this. Don't say this. Reddit will eat it up.
I mean,
the good quality art.
you could probably phone it in a bit more, I reckon.
They don't. No, an artist doesn't want to do that, right? They want to make stuff that's good. So
Who wants to do that? I appreciate
It's a
that
quick way to remove their job satisfaction.
Right.
Make bad stuff.
It's too good. Yeah, fair enough. So you
I
mentioned
love
the
that.
sanctity of the kill monster in Circle. So on the mechanical front, I noticed that there's actually 2 distinct types of breaches here. There's very much close to the original one, but then there's this hive one. What are the differences between the 2 and how do they work?
We've got 4 encounters total. At the more common one is the kind of what we're saying is the hive. So the breach have come through the hand portals. They've stabilized the breach and are now building their hives. And so you'll come across there's heaps of walls and constructs and some half organic, half inorganic. And you get the little spider things, which I think is the Twitch drop for the stream. You get those and they're kind of building and they're like putting together like molecule by molecule building these hives. And that's the one where you come in and you get given the power of the Keepers of the Flame, and that can just incinerate away all of the materia, and you're kind of just like running around pretending to be a Righteous Fire build for a moment.
I'll just note as well, like, you don't have to click any doors or like bump into any walls. They just evaporate before you.
You just run around. You run around
so
burning
good.
stuff. It's kind of satisfying. You see ash going everywhere.
I love that.
There's a couple of things going on there. So generally when you get to the center, you summon an Aelith, you start the encounter. And effectively just kill a whole bunch of monsters. They're trying to get to her. They're trying to kill her. They're not super effective at it. We're not doing the whole like, they are persistently wanting to aggro on her. They're going to try and kill you. That's honestly more of an immersive flavor thing than it is like meant to be too interruptive of a mechanic or anything like that. Again, because I wanted to just keep killing monsters being the primary focus.
But there is a thing where the more walls you burn, the more
there's amongst all the walls you can get these like spawners, these like hive portals, where the monsters can then come through. So if you want to activate more to have more monsters, have more difficulty and get more reward, you want to burn as many of those hive spawners as possible, and then they will turn into portals once the fight begins. If you just want to run to the center, start the fight, do the fight,
Very
leave,
good to know if you want to optimize it for profit.
The other thing here is, though, that, of course, obviously this can be a bit of a clear, speedy thing where it's like, So, during those encounters, using the power of the purple flame, these kind of purple flames scatter out, and each of them kind of has a skill attached, just like an oh shit button. And so, like, if you're getting overwhelmed, there's like different things you can just click if you wanted to, if you needed to. Most powerful characters, you'll be fine. Just as it kind of like will send out a giant nuke and clear stuff, or like create this like flame wall, and anything that runs into it will burn. And that's honestly more to help out players that are kind of struggling or on the weaker end and aren't like, able to kind of keep up with it. So it just normalizes the difference between bottom end and top end.
I'm really happy they have stuff like this. Makes it more like pleasant if you're playing a weak build offensively, especially early on. Makes the mechanic more accessible.
When you boil it down, it's basically just like a fast-paced wave defense. Like, just survive 6-8 waves of monsters that are rushing at you pretty fast, and but it doesn't have that same clear speed pressure that the like basic one has.
Yeah. So that's one encounter. Second encounter is like the traditional breach, the one that players have, historically been playing. You activate a thing, the breach expands out. So these are breaches that haven't been stabilized yet.
Yeah.
So they haven't come through to build their hive. So you activate it, it starts expanding, you kill all the monsters, it's revealing, and then once you've killed enough, and if you can kill enough, like it can be kind of hard early game, but like towards end game, that's your goal. You'll notice a progress bar filling up, and once the breach gets to the end, that means that it will become stable. And so what was going to happen is when it becomes stable, the Breach are going to send through their like difficult monsters, their elites, their enforcers, you know, their front line to come through and, you know, secure the area so they can send through their like little worker spiders to start building their hives. So this is like a yet to be a hive. And so you obviously don't witness all of that. Generally what you do experience is you kill enough monsters, and then in the center the portal activates and a bunch of monsters and often a boss floods through. And so now you have to go back to the center and fight all that, kill everything, defeat the boss, get the loot, and then everything drops then and there once you successfully do that. If you can't do it, run away. That's up to you. You know, you can still play the old way if you want and like not get the so much rewards, just kill as many as you want and move on. But generally speaking, you'll want to go back to the middle. You want to kill the either waves of hordes of monsters coming through the portal or the boss that spawns.
That like locks open then once you reach that stabilization point.
Yeah, it locks open the time. Yeah, so that's another good thing. Yeah, so the existing Breach, I mean, obviously it's pretty outdated and even imbalanced, and often people were killing the Breach Lords, the wild ones, in like, you know, a matter of seconds. But, you know, I wanted to make sure that boss fight didn't have a time condition. So yeah, once it stabilizes, that's it. You just once you kill them, it closes. You have infinite time to kill that boss and fight those monsters. You're not just like, oh my god, I got to do it. So like it is a more substantial, and generally because you've cleared everything in that circle now, it's like it almost like you created your own arena. You've got like a nice clear area where you can fight that boss and focus on killing that boss. Now he has minions in a regard, so obviously it's not just one-on-one, but you know, that mechanic's like quite cool. So that's the like Varun, the Marshal of Zesht fight. He has some specific drops. You generally want to kill him. And then, yeah, so that's encounter number 2. And then, yeah, encounter number 3. I know he's going on a bit of a thing here, but these next two are bit quicker. Encounter number 3 is the kind of sky fortresses you saw. It's very similar to the first fight. It's kind of like, oh, we didn't stop this hive. Some of these hives have been getting built for weeks or whatever, and now they're like, you know, full...
If that's what's built after a week, they would dominate the world like instantly if they didn't just land specifically in my path in Raid Lost.
And honestly, it's kind of just like a map of breach monsters. You're clearing through. Nah, no timer at this point. You can just clear the area and leave, taking your rewards with you. But in the center is like the Hive encounter, the very first one, like a wave-based encounter. It's just a lot more epic, and you have to, you know, the same exact thing, except Aelith's like, yeah, it's going to take a lot more explosive power to destroy the rest of this hive and seal this portal, so you might want to get out of here. So generally speaking, yeah, once you've killed all the waves, you then have to get out of the area before Aelith burns the entire thing to the ground. Cool. Normally you can survive that, not in this case. You might want to get out of there.
I'm withholding judgments on if this is going to be super enjoyable or not, but everything I'm hearing so far makes me lean towards I'm going to have a really good time with this.
A little bit more action-packed when you're trying to escape. And then the fourth encounter is pretty similar to that, except it's just an area with your pinnacle boss, your in-game boss fight at the end of it.
And you basically didn't show those in the trailer, because I did know that people were like wondering why you showed kind of so much of the Uber bosses for the regular content, but you didn't really show any of these guys.
We generally avoid showing bosses for sure, especially new ones. You know, you get a silhouette of it, a single emerge shot, and yeah, for sure. Like for the Ubers, we're like, well, they've got like 10. 15 skills each. Let's show one mechanic we've changed of each, you know?
Yeah, makes sense.
Maybe not the best option. Like, I know people like their full mystery, so like maybe lesson learned in the future might just show nothing. But yeah, we only did show one of all of their skills that have changed, you know, just so people get a general grasp of how they're changing. Yeah. But yeah,
they could be really fucky if there's more
I'm probably just not going to show those again. So,
fair enough.
You know, we'll let it be a mystery. But yeah.
So
they already look really fucky, especially the third one.
You made a skill tree. Well done.
The tree.
But this tree is quite fascinating because it's not just a like a meta progression system for the league or something. Like there is that, it is progressing, but
it feels like a meta way to do what you were doing in original Harvest.
And from messing around with that, like,
if that makes sense,
it feels kind of brilliant. Like
the structure of how you wanted to make your items in Harvest, but with less power because it's not
kind of
done on an item by item basis, but on a like meta level. But I think the process of acquiring items will feel somewhat similar to early Harvest crafting. Not like perfect items, but getting good Harvest items.
Came from Octavian. and the grafts, mind you, as well. He's
He's cooking.
creative.
Before you
brain
go
on that
into
one.
any of the really advanced stuff.
Some cool ideas. I like that kind of out there style of design, which is good. And so eventually we took that kind of idea. I was the one who brought Breach to the table. And
It
was
really
like,
depends on how easily you can respec
came from
them.
a interesting thing
How
where
easily
in
you
the
can
Twisted
respec
Domain of
the
PoE 2,
individual
you get
trees
these
and what the opportunity cost
you
is,
have
because
these
obviously you want to
trees
move them
made of
around when your
hands that the
priority
environment
changes.
artists made, and I really love them, and I'm like, normally because you're on a timer in that area and you're going hard, you're fighting monsters, you don't really get to appreciate a lot of the art assets in there.
Zoom.
And I was like, wow, damn, I want to use those trees, but have them, because I think they're petrified in that version. So I was like, what does that look like when it's a bit more alive, a bit more organic, a bit more gross? We kind of came up with this tree, and tree that hatches items, and it has this fruit, and then we were like, nah, like I don't want just a tree that has fruit. It needs to be gross and dark and horror. It's like this is a gothic world, and so we obviously went a little bit more crazy with the theming on it all. But I like it, right? It is dark. It's like a little. You've got this alien-esque demon species, right?
It's like squeezing the items out, like with a bunch of plus.
Yeah, it kind of came like that, and then it's like, wow, it needs a meta progression. The good thing about the tree having a passive tree is we get to reuse all the same code that our passive trees use.
That makes sense.
Because it's good, because then you don't have to make a completely bespoke system. And again, it's picking your battles, being able to focus more on what the nodes do as opposed to the underlying system.
I think what's pretty interesting about it though is the way that like it actually for crafting is quite interesting how it sort of encapsulates the idea that you've got like various dependent choices. You don't normally think about crafting in that way, but that's really what crafting is. And so it kind of like means that it's actually a surprisingly natural interface for crafting. It works really well. And so, that's kind of...
I don't know how well it will work, but...
I don't think I've ever seen it before.
Conceptually, it makes sense.
Quite like that, so...
Yeah, like I've seen some crafting trees and stuff, but they're usually separate, or there's like some little bit. But yes, like that's what I was thinking, because I'm thinking a lot about like how do you communicate crafting, because it's a pretty complicated thing generally, even at its simplest in Path of Exile. But this does seem to have like a very natural, more understandable way of communicating it, because you're allocating the nodes for the craft. You get to see the structure of your craft in a visual manner, which I'm like,
it is cool.
So,
and how did we go this? So we've got multiple character trees. We've got world area trees. Is this the first crafting tree?
Well, kind of. There was the one with the items. I don't even remember the name.
There was
Crucible.
The
Oh my god, they don't remember Crucible.
That was items having trees. That wasn't a tree to craft.
Yeah,
you could kind of argue Scourge is like the whole microwave mechanic, kind of, but it wasn't really a tree. It was like it was a bit different, So
the whole microwave,
true crafting tree.
It's like I just can't help but wonder. Like we'll see, I guess, after a league, but I just can't help but wonder if you've like accidentally stumbled upon one of the potential solutions to like how do you communicate crafting to players, because it's so hard to do. It's like I don't know, maybe this has applications elsewhere.
We'll see how it goes, and there's a lot to expand on here, of course. Like when you have these kinds of tree systems and. Immediately people are going to be like, oh, keystones and, where's my crafting tree notables and masteries and jewel slots.
Where are my crafting masteries?
Build your own crafting tree.
Yes.
We'll see where it goes, but obviously that depends.
I need a wormhole in the
we don't want to
passive tree.
overcomplicate it off the bat, so you come in with something kind of simple, elegant, see how it works, see how people respond to it.
Tree wormhole between different trees in the tree.
Because we always like to decide based on how the players respond. We can evaluate how we want it to be, if we want to change it, if we want to leave it as is, if we want to, so we'll do all that. But yeah, it's cool. I like a lot of the ideas coming here with that, with that and the grafts and stuff like that. There's some pretty crazy cool things.
So talking about like the idea of preserving some of the stuff from the old Breach or what's not being kept. So you had the old Breach Lord domains. They're effectively being replaced or removed here?
So those are all... We've kept Breach 1, I don't know what you'd call it, fully intact on Standard. Really? Whereas on this league, it's the full Breakwall Keepers of the Flame mechanics.
The Breakwall.
So full replacement. None of that is there in the current... and while playing in Keepers of the Flame, like all of the breach nodes on the Atlas tree are gone, and all that. So you've got the current league. Obviously, our intention is that it goes core, but we'll take the better elements of it. One interesting thing here is obviously we still have all the old stuff. So if we miss the mark on some things, it's still there. We can bring it back. We can integrate it. We can, obviously it would suck, to have to then accept that we have to keep using all the old art and old mechanics and old fight to some degree. But
We'll see how it plays out. But I don't see why, from what they've said, I don't see why they wouldn't just keep the whole thing.
Things that people loved. So obviously, I'm pretty confident in what we've got is going to be amazing.
I have a hard time thinking this can be a flop.
Positive. So. But worst comes to worst, if we have to take the best of both worlds and merge them.
At least the actual gameplay parts, the tree stuff is
so
different.
Yes, you don't have breach domains in Keepers of the Flame. You got all those new mechanics I described earlier. But that isn't to say there isn't a future where we have a prequel to the prequel, and we have or an update. Not necessarily another sequel, but you bring back some of those things that were good about it. So immediately I can see people coming to mind. Oh, but what about the uniques or the rewards? We have kept all of that. All of that can be spawned from the tree. Cool. You can grow pretty much all of it.
That's good.
You can find. I won't reveal exactly how to do that. You can figure that out.
Yeah, nice.
But you can generally get all of the historic rewards from Breach from the new mechanics.
And I'm so excited for the double
rings finally
foul uniques. They're gonna be so silly.
Silly thing. That
they got their improvement in PoE too. So we had already accepted that having a double effect while in Breach, especially given, that's only useful some small percentage of the time generally. Not good enough. So yes, the breach rings have been reworked. I believe the implicits are all max res of the corresponding element types. I can't remember.
Max res?
What this one is. Whatever, we'll deal with that. But I believe it also restricts or constrains the mods you can roll on it. So it's like Zoff rings, fire mods, etc., etc.
Cool.
That's even better for crafting.
The unique crafting as well looked pretty wild. Like, I was pretty excited to see that.
That sounds ridiculously good.
Like, it would remove a modifier and then just replace it with like a random rare modifier or something. But it seems like they're
especially if you can still force modifiers on with like essences and stuff.
Bespoke modifiers.
Because I just force on chaos on a.
Is this just like a
max rest of something else maybe, and
surely
then
you can't do 1,000 uniques worth of those.
Sold my chaos rest that way.
I don't know what number they got to, but effectively it was just like we'll just go until we run out of time. But yeah, like there's a whole bunch of uniques. It is here's the list of mods that it can lose. Here's the list of mods it can be replaced with on a per unique basis. Yes.
Okay, good. Again, so it's not gonna let you remove the downside on Chaos Heart of not having any sockets and just have 1,000 and then get another upside.
Things that have specific drop locations have specific drop locations. But yeah, that being said, it is a list. It would suck to, lose the key mod on an item. So generally speaking, we don't allow like what gives that unique full identity to be removed. A lot of it can be either the fluff stats, sometimes the downsides, some stuff like that. So yeah, we'll just
1,000 life upside Chaos Heart still not good enough.
Would be the thing where we can add more and more and more and more, and then eventually we will have the entire unique pool covered. So we'll just see how that goes.
They said this in every single time they've added a mechanic like this. Like when they added the prophecies as well, they're like, we could expand this and add more prophecy uniques, and then they never have. So I'm very lukewarm on the concept of them actually adding more after the fact.
And stuff before, so
same thing with like transfigured gems. We haven't heard anything about adding more transfigured gems, but they said when they released them that we're not done yet. We can add more whenever we want.
And kind of how impactful that'd be until I was messing around with it, especially for leveling. But these are like pretty major skills and an extra layer, because especially so there's 16 of them, and you can have 2 of them, and they're like a mixture of auto casting skills, proc based things, so like on attack or something, and manually cast in some cases as well. Like I had a tornado that was like crazy. So these seem pretty significant. What's kind of like the plan for how impactful you want these to be, or like, especially at endgame, like they'll definitely like very impactful while leveling.
Obviously, there's always going to be a spectrum of usability. Generally speaking, yeah, they're going to be pretty powerful. But you know how strong characters can get. They can generally outclass everything. That being said, for a long way, they're going to be pretty damn useful. And even beyond then, there's generally you can scale the difficulty.
It's so funny. thinking about how
You'll
it
notice,
took
like
last
something I
epoch,
think you
like
observed as well, the
the
numbers
amount of
on
time
the-
it
on the
did to
scales
add
are, like, out
a
of control.
single
that
like,
is because they don't scale with your stats.
ancient
Obviously, debuffs
area
on the enemy,
crafting
anything you
thingy.
debuff on them does.
With
But
the
they don't
T-Rex
scale with your
and
increases. The reason for that
the one extra zone
is that I wouldn't want it to be
and then
that.
it doesn't really
If you're
add
a
on in
spellcaster, you
endgame
have to
because
use
it's
one that's doing a
either
spell.
that or the
You
other
know, because
mechanic in
you
maps,
generally focus on
the tomb.
increases. And I didn't want it to be that, now in order to
Versus
benefit from
here,
graphs,
where
you
it's
have to
like,
really
oh,
only
here's
invest in global
fucking a
damage increases
billion
and stuff like
things.
that. It would
The
restrict the
pace
character
at which
builds
they
too much.
work is like
So
night
we
and
made them
day
not
from
scale
everything
with,
else. It's so
characters-
ridiculous.
Like your character stats. Obviously, again, as said, if you reduce the resistances of the enemy, then the enemy takes more damage, that kind of stuff. But yeah, there's a kind of a lot of them that vary from utility through to just like pure offensive power. They all also just come with stats. So, and yeah, as you said, if you didn't want to, like, there's ones where you use skills and you can use that tactically. You can merge that with some of your abilities, or if you just want to, you know, effectively let it autocast. There are versions for that as well. If you just can't be bothered, that's also fine. And honestly, at the worst comes to worst, at the end of the day, they still kind of just give some mods, and that's fine. And they are obviously used to, if you want to get one that just
Rolls
like
up to 10
specializes in
Ubers now,
harvesting
which
more
I'm very
Graph
happy
Blood,
about.
that's also a thing you can do because those systems are linked. Like the grafts do gain the graph blood, which is what you give to the Genesis tree to give the item. So there's kind of a nice interlink between.
I mean, they should really be replacing the power that you previously got from mercenaries, right? Like, if the league needs to give you a, you know, something that's going to fit in that power curve. So therefore, you can look at it in a similar.
They are mercenaries on your back.
Yeah, in a way you could say that. Yeah.
That's what I was kind of thinking when I was messing with it. It's like, okay, so we're going to have two of these. This definitely feels like how I was looking at the mercenaries and picking mercenaries that had like two really good skills.
Right.
It's kind of a
makes
similar
sense.
idea. So the design of mercenaries has informed this somewhat, then it seems.
Sadly, you can't gear your arms.
No.
Can't put items
Can't put
on
a bunch
them.
of rings
You can
on
do
them.
some
Can't
gloves.
tell your arm to hold a sword. You know, that would have been kind of fun though.
That would be pretty cool.
Add it now,
The way
last
our
second.
dude
Get it done.
explained The graphs to me was he said they're not you, and I'm like, somehow that's really creepy to hear. It's like they're attached to you, but
Who
they're
are
not
they
a
then?
part of you. That was explaining the scaling. Like that's why they don't scale with your stats because they're not you.
They're independent life forms and therefore don't benefit from your passive tree.
We didn't do this, but we had a desire to do unique ones, which I thought was kind of going to be fun. We might do this later, like going core, we'll do it, but we're like, what if you, and I think it was Octavian's like, what if you had a leg growing out of your back? What does that mean? And, you know, I was like, what if you had like a good jacked quadrilla arm or something? You know, because I was like, you
They should have a unique arm that's just like literally like tentacles or
you know, deformed, crazy things going
like
on.
a gorilla, like they said.
You know,
Like
I had a
they should just
design
add like
for
a
the
couple
first one
unique
that's, like,
arms
converted
that
into- I don't care
are
about the league. It converts
just
all
different
Graph blood to gold or
visually.
something. Kind of like
Not even
cursed
really mechanically,
pirate
they have to
treasure
be.
arm or something. And, you know, we'll see if that goes somewhere later. But I think that could be kind of fun to play around with. So
There's definitely some sort of like biomutant kind of combining of limbs and genetics and stuff potential here, maybe.
yeah, later mechanic, right? Like nice to have these things you can expand on. So.
Yeah, so it looks like you can synergize with them, but you don't necessarily scale them directly, like you're saying. You can debuff enemies and things like that. While we pan down to some of our additional questions, I've been noticing some that get mentioned a lot in chat that we'll kind of transition over to briefly. So WASD gets mentioned a lot, like if that's something that's planned for Path of Exile 1, if it's feasible, what goes into
So
that?
in order,
It's a pretty big deal.
In order for WASD to happen in PoE 1, we need to get the rigs from PoE 2. In order for that to happen, we need to finish moving all the microtransactions over, which has definitely been a bit of a slow task that we kind of, need to get through.
Yeah.
And so effectively it would be, like, we do want to do that at some point. And then after that point, we can make WASD for PoE 1. But yeah, it's just a question of getting through all that work and then we can do it. Like, I'm not against it by any means. It's just, it's just, I mean, I want it to happen. It's just getting all those things moved over to the new rigs is the limiting factor.
Yeah, and you want it to be kind of reaching a certain threshold, it seems like, of quality.
Well, I mean, so yes, you
'Cause
can do it. You can do it
Like
by
a
just like
controller.
where the character just rotates.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't say that gets like that. The quality of that is really not great. Like, I don't think it feels good. So I kind of want to make do it with the proper rigs that we're going. And look,
as a player that wants the feature, I wouldn't respect this.
Rig a bunch of stuff for the old rigs anymore.
As the developer,
would definitely appreciate.
I feel like nothing. Like a temporary hack solution doesn't make sense.
Could be quite a while.
The biggest benefit from the rigs is just that
this is one of those few cases where I feel like both sides are right for different reasons, and one of them has the final say. And they are
animations, and it's not going to be an absolute nightmare to try.
It's
and
fine
make,
to just be like, no,
it's going to be epic.
we have a standard we want to reach here.
Like, okay, floodgates open. Let's go and make a whole bunch of new skills that are using new animations. Because you'll notice, even though we have a bunch of new skills in this patch, it's all using the existing animations and different like means of delivering it. So generally speaking, we have kind of your spell projectile, spell AoE, spell buff. They're kind of separated into all these categories.
Yep.
And so when you generally do a buff, you just use the buff one, and AoE use the AoE one. But as a result, we don't have just cool bespoke things where you I don't know, do a flip while doing doing crazy stuff like that.
You removed the flip in PoE 2, so
that in PoE 1 just because the cost is
don't add it in here. That skill sucked ass with the flip.
7 different characters, 7 different rigs
with all the different weapon sets.
Yeah, with every single weapon set. And because generally PoE 1 doesn't have as much restrictions on the weapons to skill association, it would you'd be like, it's not great. It's really not great, and it would be like the cost of doing that would mean we'd have to do so much less other stuff. I
get it.
Just a random tangent on why the rigs would be beneficial as well. Like immediately, I'm just like, oh my god, please! I want to do new skills that are
But we will do it. We will do it eventually. It's just porting all those stuff.
Yeah, well, it's an interesting insight that you even plan to kind of bring this PoE 2 rigging system over to PoE 1 for animations and things like that, because that indicates that the future of Path of Exile 1 is not very static visually. Obviously we're seeing new stuff getting ported back, but potentially a lot of stuff getting remade and updated, and PoE 1 is anticipated to change a lot in that regard over time.
Well, I mean, yeah, it just for no other reason that it makes our lives easier, we need to do it. But yes, it will have the side effect of making the game look better too, which I guess is good.
So another thing I saw mentioned in chat quite often was asking for Trial of the Ancestors, and what's the plans or status of that?
Don't bring it back.
I mean, we want to do it. That ultimately is just a resource thing again. It's it's one of those ones that it can't be one-to-one.
I don't see anything valuable added with bringing that mechanic back specifically.
We need to fix a bunch of stuff with it.
You will create
it's not out of the question. It's
a group of people that only do that. It's also the easiest thing in the world to bot.
All the time, and it's we could do this, all this.
There's a lot of reasons I don't think that mechanic specifically should come back, even though I abused it a lot when I played it. I got level 99 only doing Trials of the Ancestor and nothing
we had
else.
other priorities, I guess it's safe to say. So TBD, who knows? Every single time we don't plan too far in advance with the stuff. So generally when we are at the next league or the next 2 leagues worth of discussions, it's we have a list of things that we could do. It's in that list. I'm sure it'll come up at some point. So we'll see.
Feel free to be coy about this, but it seems like since something similar is occurring in Path of Exile 2, that might help you kind of solve some of these questions for PoE 1. Maybe that gives people an idea of the time frame.
Well, as I said once, if obviously there's a could do with respect to PoE 2, but if we manage to go down that route, we get to do the exact same thing we did with Breach here, which is that if we have all the monsters made, and a lot of art made, and a lot of encounters, so even if it doesn't appear the exact same way, it'll allow us to do a massive shortcut, which would mean that all of a sudden it is way more possible to add as a feature without having to compromise too much else. So
nice.
Yeah, they're basically just talking about how reuse is good.
Game, and I'm sure you're anticipating a discussion on Tier 17 modifiers, modifier design, their addition to memory strand maps, risk scarabs, and map modifier effect. So I list all these things out because they all come together to form a bit of a tangled mess of late end game. And I'm just curious, before we even get into what people are asking or what people are saying about it, I'm curious what your guys' thoughts are on this topic, I guess, of Tier 17 modifiers and their impact on late endgame.
I mean, the main thing I'd say there, just as an overall view on it, is that T17s, there's this tension between it is not a good place to be when there's a tension between what players are enjoying and what the thing we want to try and do is. That's like a problem that needs to be resolved. So effectively, it's like what T17s are supposed to do in theory is something that we want, which is to say, like, that like you get something that you don't necessarily like want to have to play against, and like you have to actually, and you have to deal with it or come up with a way to get around that. But in practice, players don't want to do that, so there's something clearly wrong here. So something does need to change, but it's a little bit.
I mean, the big issue is that all of them are, or not all of them, but most mods are just very anti-fun.
Like interesting challenges that are different each time that you play them. That like all the there's like new and interesting things you encounter, but yet also something that players actually like. So there's a problem for sure.
So what is your desires for tier 17 maps? Like, what do you want?
Well, as I said, I don't think it's necessarily the desire for T17s as such. It's more the desire that you have like interesting combinations of mods happen, and they're like, oh, this is a new challenge I have to rise to, and like, how am I going to deal with this, and that kind of stuff, and like that's something that like in practice players aren't like really liking. So as I said, there's a problem here for sure. It's just a question of how we kind of.
It becomes a checklist of what does your build clear and what can it not clear. The only mod that like I could see myself run that a build technically can't deal with is like the volatile. If I'm like stun immune, I might be like, I can dodge every volatile and just hope it doesn't one-shot me.
The penultimate bosses that allow you to do the Ubers.
It's not engaging.
Also now, also this non-sustainable map, and where you have to, obviously a lot of people feel like have to trade for it, and then in the other cases you've got a bunch of modifiers people hate. You've got this like thing where because of the mods you end up devolving down to the in-game strat becomes, as you said, stacking map mod effect and modifiers via risk.
Remove risk.
It's like, it's not fun. It's not ideal. We tried to narrow the gap with T16.5s. That kind of worked, and then you get some other weird problems where like, because those can be 8-prop corrupted and tier 17s can't. There's some weird issues there as well. And honestly, it's like, it is a kind of mess. And we intend to keep band-aiding it until we can drawing board, but I would expect you'd probably see a pretty...
I think it needs a full redesign.
Yes.
It needs a full redesign to try and see if we can come up with a way to both achieve what we're hoping to achieve, but also make the players not dislike it, right?
So is this maybe like separating out what you're trying to do with the tier 17 modifiers and what you're trying to do with this penultimate like boss thing that is like the lead up to the Ubers?
That is a split at the very least.
Okay.
I don't think that we've worked out exactly how this can work, though. Like,
I don't think that like the best, most rewarding content in the game should also be the tickets to the Ubers, and in that even that's like broad and sounds weird when you first say it, but like
it's so hard because
it's kind of, you know what I mean, where it's something's wrong.
There's a fundamental tension with you want the hardest content in the game to be the most rewarding.
Yeah,
but like the moment you do that, there's all sorts of incentives that come into play that mean that people don't like it when like there's a map now that you can't run because the mods are not good for you and that kind of stuff, and like so then there's also it's a problem.
It's a little bit of a mess of problems.
It's a problem.
How the action speed mod and the
it's okay for there to be some modifiers.
The 3 second of invulnerability mod still exists is like beyond me.
But in the moment that it's like it feels like a huge economic penalty to that,
so you're
immediately like you're immediately kind of.
But you get the thing right now where you stack the risk scarabs, and then it's like, okay, only Trickster and Juggernaut can play it as a way of it's perceived, and it's again, we are changing a lot of these variables, by the way. We're not just leaving it for 327. Like we are changing risk scarab, we are changing some stuff around map mod effect, we are changing.
Good, nice.
There are bits and pieces changing. I'm not going to stop band-aiding just because we have a grand plan for the future. Well, we have an absence of a grand plan, a desire to have a grand plan for the future. But we will. I would be very surprised. I know I shouldn't be promising content in the follow expansions because variables always change, but I'll be very surprised if we don't do a more drastic shift in 328 to solve this problem, because it's now long enough that it's not worth it. So obviously, hopefully the changes we are making improve things in a pretty meaningful way, is shake up the meta a little bit. But yeah, there's still going to be some woes, and but hopefully people can be excited for, the thing to whatever the thing is to come. But it shouldn't be too hard for us to come up with something. Honestly, similar to how we did 031 for PoE 2. If we can come up with something that is just like a universal success and like is blatantly a win and isn't going to, lower the value of people's economy mid-league and stuff like that. I wouldn't be, against if we can come up with something, because we're obviously going to design it soon. If we can come up with something or a piece of that something to deploy to, mid-league, mid-Keepers of the Flame, I will.
I don't think
for
that's
that.
possible
We'll
to
just
do
have to see
without
if that's something
fucking
we
the
can
economy
actually
entirely,
do.
if it's like a
'Cause
full thing.
Often these things will mean like, oh, now all of X will become devalued. And I don't want to like ruin people's mid-league economy and wealth and just destroy it because we decided we want to make a change. And so, there's considerations to make.
Yeah, from speaking to Octavian about the tier 17 modifiers as well, I can tell they're kind of weighing on him, like he really wants to do stuff with them.
I think we're all on the same page. I honestly don't even know if anyone really is disagreeing with, like maybe in little ways, but I think everyone's kind of.
I got
the experiment is played out.
Is there someone who loves the 3 seconds out of every 10 seconds you can't deal damage modifier? Like,
can we find that guy?
Okay, tell me why.
But I play support characters. I don't deal damage.
All
right, you're gonna jump.
We got it. We found him. John, bad opinion.
How does that modifier come into being?
No, I mean, to be fair, I like things that are just a bit more. I'm a bit more masochistic in that regard. So,
what I was gonna
say. I'm not attempting to put my masochistic views on the player base. I understand that, generally speaking, people aren't for that kind of thing. But I also liked trying those things, seeing how it is, and there are things where these can exist. Like if this was behind a couple more layers of some sort of more niche corruption mechanic where players, or some crafting system over here where players can kind of choose to do it but don't feel forced to do it. Those things can exist, and I want to make sure we keep that kind of stuff. But in the broad mod pool, some of these mods are they're not really working.
It was
evidently
that one, and the like action speed reduction from using your skills, and I think there was the petrification statues that get mentioned a lot as well.
It's the drowning orbs plus that plus it's just like, okay, thanks for making me slow. I mean the thing about slowness is you do feel it, hence why. Whereas like often you can just be like, I'm just gonna ignore that. That's a nothing mod.
Physically painful sometimes.
So but it's a bit overboard right now.
Yeah, it's like I see the problem here. Like I'm so torn on this because I want these sorts of.
If the action speed mod was 1%, I think it would be runnable.
You can feel like that they have a bit of an impact.
The fact that it's 5% is fucking crazy, or 3%. I don't remember.
Making the monster get
But
closer
3 or 5% are both insane for the action speed mod.
Want something, but there are some that are okay, and there are some that are not, and we just haven't found the perfect spot.
There's an analogy about this, which is like, how do you feel about immunities in D2? It's another sort of similar situation, right? Where it's like it forces you to change something about what you're doing, and a lot of people just really hate that. Yeah, and it's kind of like a similar sort of situation, I think.
Yeah, I'm the same. Like I like the idea, but I don't like the execution of that at all. Yeah.
Right.
Or the
and I think we're actually sort of running into a similar situation with this.
This is it is kind of your. Yeah, I mean, we've danced with this a few times in the past.
For sure.
We had some immunities on some pinnacle bosses and stuff like that.
We've had some wonderful fucking
a long time ago. But
immunity auras, my favorite thing.
Are changing then.
God, it's crazy that they're gone. It's so good that they're gone. Holy fuck, temporary immunity.
Something like wrong.
God, I hated that so much.
Yeah, that's all. I don't know if I can say more than that, really.
Yeah.
With the map mod effect and the Atlas tree in particular, I'd rather there was like 15 different ways to scale difficulty and reward, as opposed to just like, here's the stat I stack, and it's just like straight multiplicative. It's, I don't know, I want, because obviously a lot of the stuff on the tree is affecting the leagues and the content. I want more than just map mod effect to be the way that you can multiply. And so it's like, do I want to focus on this, or do I want to focus on that? And there's like different builds within the like making things more harder and more rewarding. But yeah, right now it's just like, well, obviously I just stack all of that. Like quantifiably, it's obviously better, and like this, I don't know, it's a little bit lame, honestly. It's kind of just a boring thing right now, and I don't know. This again, drawing board, 100% back to it, revisit it. I'd be surprised if we're not doing something for 328 as much as I told myself I wasn't going to promise following expansion content, but
there's some patch notes coming out later today. Is that, or is it later?
Yeah, I don't know what the time is, but our 11 a.m. NZ or whatever it is kind of thing. Like
there'll probably be like a rollout over time as well, from what I'm hearing. Like Like
That's just generally the case because patch note writing is a surprisingly difficult task. It takes quite a while to get all that stuff together.
I mean, you've got an extra week to make additional changes. Like people.
Wait, so the patch notes aren't out when this is over? They're out at 11 their local time?
Some of those in there, but it sounds like we're kind of on the same page with you guys, at least, regarding a lot of this.
Yeah, I don't think you'll... I mean, obviously. It obviously needs attention. So, yeah.
All right, it's cool. So... On Endgame, though, in like a longer term, from a longer term perspective, we have a pretty good Atlas.
It's in an hour and 30 minutes.
Like, I think it's pretty well liked, apart from this issue that we just talked about. Like overall, the core of it seems great. Like I can sing many praises about it. But previously, like historically, you've done a lot of complete Endgame overhauls. And to the point that it was definitely a trend, like it seemed.
But they said 11. They said 11 Pacific time, which is in 30 minutes. So New Zealand time is not the right time to go by.
Achieved something that you kind of want to keep.
I think it's in 30 minutes.
I don't think that we would want to not overhaul the endgame again. Like the reason that it's not like we're like, oh, this is what we're set on. We're now just going to keep this forever. Certainly not. It's more just that it comes down to like it is hard to come up with the ability to do a scope for that, and it's been especially hard, since we've had like PoE 2 in in early access. So it's kind of like we just need to get back to a point again where like that level of scope can happen, and I don't think will be necessarily that far away from the point where that should be fine again. It's just that like it really is just a question of like can we get the ability and time to do it, yeah, like I don't think, as I said, I don't think it will necessarily be that far away before we do something like that again. And I like you do need to change the stuff every once in a while. Like it does become stagnant eventually.
Interesting.
So I think we should do another big overhaul. But obviously the term overhaul can mean a lot of different things, right?
We should be careful with overhaul.
Like it's not like it's going to change into like a it'll still be fundamentally the PoE1 Atlas and the.
The same tier as other overhauls we had.
Changed it too fundamentally, I would say, in some respects. I mean, there's big changes, but
as long as you don't remove the Atlas tree, you're fine.
It's not like we're going to suddenly be like, oh yeah, we're changing it to be like a PoE 2 like system or something like that. Like but we do need would need new pinnacles and new challenges there and that sort of stuff. Like that's something that we will have to do eventually. It's just getting the time.
That kind of stuff, like escalating the narrative and cycling out bosses and cycling out characters and changing all that stuff is like generally pretty harmless and generally cool. Like you're not really messing with the systems and the core of what people like and the cycle that people like. So like obviously that's always just a nice win when you get to be like, all right, what are the next set of what much like Breach has now evolved and gone forward in time, so will the end game story at some point, and we will do that for sure. And it's just like there's always mechanics that come with it, and sometimes if you add those mechanics, they can't coexist with some existing ones because it overcomplicates everything, it becomes a mess. I would hate to have I don't want to add more systems and now all of a sudden it's extra steps even more over to have to do on your maps before you run them and that kind of stuff. So sometimes things need to be
kind of reach a critical mass where that becomes like a huge
we appreciate the fact
barrier that people hate.
Everyone's end game is in a pretty
when there's too many things you gotta do before you start running the actual content.
As you said. But it's in a pretty damn good spot, and there's so much good about it, and I don't want to ruin that. So we'll be very careful with that stuff. But honestly, generally, we'd like what you might find is that we use this T17 thing as a motivation to go, what is the redesign? Okay, let's use that as the like crux of what we design around and fix the problem both narratively and like game design wise by removing these problems from the game, creating something new in its stead. And
I think what I'm most curious about is like if let's say you went into a meeting today to try and come up with a new end game for PoE 1. Like an overhaul for it, would it still have an Atlas passive tree like it has now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's
no way you'd get rid of that.
I already know.
It's too good, right?
I already know what it is, so I already have it in my mind.
Oh, okay. You were saying before last time that
it's deep in my mind.
You've got a story arc planned.
Well, the Secrets of the Atlas was intended to be part one of a multi-part, right? So I've got the other parts, or at least most of it. And yes, the tree is still there. And honestly, I don't think anything is fundamentally in my plan in my head is changing enough to cause any concern. So,
all right, great.
My head.
I'm pretty confident of that as well.
Great.
And now everyone will have to just wait to see what those
Yes.
ideas are for an undetermined amount of time.
I assume we'll get a follow-up to the story maybe next expansion, perhaps, of following along what's happened to that. It was pretty interesting last one.
We'll see, yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about balance. There wasn't too much revealed about balance in the reveal trailer stuff itself, but I know it was mentioned that there would be a bit of balance stuff going on here, and I've had a chat to a few people and scoped out some things. Like, for example, there is the unplayed assassin that gets asked about a lot, and it seems like something's happening for assassin.
Yeah, that actually came kind of recently. We were just like, can we really... I think what I had said, and my intention was to do this for both games, is like, we should at least look at... Like, at least with respect to ascendancies, look at the least played class, especially if it's been consistently least played.
Yeah.
10 leagues!
And make sure that that's on the radar.
At least!
And getting
You are 1 for 10 for doing this!
And even if it means we have a go at it, and if the scope's too high, we do it a bit later, and if the scope's within spec, we do it immediately. In this case, yeah, we looked at the assassin. It was like 40% lower, at least on the primary leagues, you know, it was like much lower usage than even the next class. And then, you know, so it wasn't doing very well. And it's been the case for a little while. So we were like, look, let's just do something. Like, it was better than doing nothing. So obviously we just put together what we could over a couple days and kind of mix and match. We had like 3 or 4 different iterations, and, you know, it came up when we were looking at it, you know, it was like the whole, you have the interesting thing, you go, and look, you look at the class, and it's like, why is the ruthless poison node better than the non-ruthless poison node? Wasn't weren't the classes non-ruthless meant to be a bit weaker? And then it was kind of like, oh, okay, well, that's a thing we can maybe draw inspiration from, and, you know, we just did our whole like process for
Amazing.
that. But yeah, so we teased that last night, whatever the time zone is, and you know, hopefully people enjoy it and play it. But yeah, I kind of want to get into the rhythm of every expansion. At least we look at, not necessarily change, because it depends on the scope
time we've changed other ones as well.
We at least give it a go of making sure we look at the worst class, no matter what, even if ascendancy classes aren't part of our, like, you know, the package of
basic
things
skills
that we're wanting to improve. Because sometimes we do a focus on the ascendancy classes, other times skills, other times this, other times that, and but I was like, okay, it's like, this is pretty bad. Let's do something about it this time and see if we can be consistent with that. No promises, but, you know, we'll try.
And there's a little bit of a wild card in the mix here with Bloodline Ascendancies. So just to clarify, these are Ascendancies on top of your original class that you can choose where to put your points.
Same point pool. And the reason a lot of people ask, or immediately are like, well, why don't you give separate points like Affliction? And the real reason is, combinations are great, but also I didn't want to have to water down the power of the points. That's too much.
I think this is way cooler.
Like, to add to a character to be able to give
like
trees.
the amount of decision making you make now is way better than what you would do with additional points.
Is that we wanted to make sure that there weren't enough points that you could put all 8, at least generally speaking. So you'll find most of the classes only have 1 to 3 notables, kind of up to 6 points worth that you can spend.
Yep.
And this is so always, no matter what ascendancy you are still matters. I didn't want to just make it that literally the entire game, no matter what base class you are, where you start on the tree, is the same. If it happened to be that a certain bloodline was OP, it's, you know, which I'm sure one of them probably is. And all of a sudden now every single person is just this one thing. I wanted to be like, no,
that's a good thing.
I think we want to do a feature that adds as much.
Please make all the strongest one.
Yeah.
So that you have to do delve.
What's cooler than just being
to
able
get
to
the actual
take
good
the powers
class
or learn the powers of your favorite boss for the purpose of a fantasy? Let's mix and match these things, and now you get this cool, like, okay, I'm a Templar. I'm all about, you know, holy powers, but I'm also going to embrace my dark side over here, or maybe the ways of the Asmeri, and you get like a freaking Shabi Guardian thing or something. Oh, sorry, I've got support classes on my brain all the time. So, you know, you have your Slayer something, you know. So, you know, the permutations honestly are endless. And obviously metas are found and builds are created and all of that. But what we obviously find is that, well, there's a few awesome perks here that I kind of like, is that we can add motivation to doing certain content that otherwise you wouldn't normally do. That's great.
This is what I'm really hype about.
We can add this for future content very easily. right? There's probably other bosses that you're like, oh, we can do this and this and this. Like, it's very easy to expand this and take it away. And the reason we're able to do that is because it is an in-game feature. It's not like overcomplicating the campaign and that player's experience. Like, you wouldn't want a second class in the campaign. People were like, holy, I've already got a tree and I've got this tree.
You mean a third class?
A second, essentially. It's like, I've got too many classes. There's too
Yo,
much stuff
congrats
going on.
/ my condolences on your melee retirement. Sub count. It's been good so far.
Where we can expand this feature
I haven't
over
touched
time.
melee
Now,
since
all of that, of
Festa.
course, is under the
But
assumption it
I
succeeds.
am considering
Again,
going to a
listen the
Smash Fest
feedback,
on the
check what
weekend,
players
so
think about it.
maybe that'll change
But
then.
It's assuming it does well.
I mean, it
Again,
will
pretty
if I
high
end up going.
confidence, Yeah, it will remain.
It's
and
been a
we'll
good
keep
time.
expanding, keep extrapolating, keep changing. And then it's yet another lever where we get to add.
I'm 50
so
hours
many
into
different
streaming a porn
builds.
RPG.
One bloodline
It's a good
being
time.
able to then be paired with all,
Yeah,
you know,
it's-
19 ascendancy
We're
classes.
2/3
It's just
through.
Like, all right, we've got a lot of stuff going on here. A lot of different options, a lot of cool things you can do. And
If you haven't caught it, I
I'm
have
actually really excited
a VOD
to
channel now,
see
so I've been uploading all
what
the VODs
happens.
of everything
More
I
than
stream,
most things,
finally,
I'm
because I was
always,
so
like,
sad
kind
I
of
lost
excited to see what they
Umineko
do with
stuff.
Things, but like here, I'm just like, I don't know. Well, let's see what happens. Like, it's gonna be real cool, and I suspect you'll get like for quite a while.
Async
people
trade is going to be
narrowing down
amazing,
what
even for us in
exactly the
SSF. It makes it way
combinations are for
nicer
different
to
things.
Well, there's definitely something
what's
one
it
of those
called?
things where you just decide something cool and you
migrate later in the
see
league
what players
and not
do
feel
with
bad about it.
because there's too many permutations there, right? Like I don't even
Means every
know what
economy is
half
going
of
to
it is,
be
but
way
it's
healthier as well. Like the
pretty
hardcore
crazy.
economy is going to be
Some
way
numbers,
stronger.
some number.
Yes, several
Infinite. No, not
several
obviously, but-
dozen new nodes accessible to all of the existing ascendancies. That's a lot of numbers.
Yeah, I am. Yeah, I'm like thoroughly excited. I'm gonna just do the whole like, what boss do I feel like being this league? I'll just see if I can make that work, and then so I'm actually gonna go backwards. I'm gonna pick my bloodline.
I'm really excited for the patch notes. They're going to dictate a lot of how I feel about this expansion.
I'll go from there. I'll go, and
This
then I'll
league.
pick my skill, and I'll end up a support character. I'm sure.
flavor building on this.
Well,
And
if there's no mercenaries, I need to be a good mercenary to my friends. That's my philosophy.
back to being mercenary again, eh?
It's so weird to see the small
So this is
QL
this
they
is
give when I know the
actually
game has been out for
Keeps the Flame.
10
It's a
years.
core game feature, Elblin standard.
I
as well.
mean,
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
Yep.
cool. And saw someone asking about.
you mean
food and
small
flesh
as in
and
like
blood.
small things that they do QOL on, or just small as in like not as much as they could do?
Oh, yeah.
I think it's really cool that they take the time to reevaluate stuff and implement stuff that like people are asking for like this, especially when it's technically challenging. I remember when affinities were deemed impossible to implement, and then they remade the system so they could.
Buffing underprivileged
Stuff like that is really cool.
skills, like giving them some love. So you mentioned this idea of like looking at the worst thing in terms of ascendancies. Is that something you want to do with skills
Yeah,
as well?
we're always, there's a little bit of okay, well, there's a few things to go into here. Like, for example, yes, there's obviously the core skills that are bad. Sometimes those are then enabled by something else going on.
Not
some other
really the ones
feature
we're
getting
talking
added,
about.
uniques, whatever. But most of the time, yeah, they're just, as you said, underprivileged. We've done a decent chunk of numerical changes here, mostly numerical. Some are, I don't want to say unsalvageable.
Full passive tree is difficult without gold. With gold it makes sense and it's easy. Identify all was a philosophy question, and one I for a long time agreed with not having in the game.
Truly viable.
And
that being said, yes, there are plenty that always need
because it
numerical
changes,
improvements.
identify all changes the
I don't know, then you've
gameplay
got things like,
structure of how you want to play
the Trough
optimally
and
in
gems,
some
right?
cases.
Cool concept.
But it also changes like just like
You
the
know,
feel
90%
of picking
them
stuff
weren't
up.
really being
It
seen
stops
in
being like
use.
something you
A few
want to
were,
engage
and
with
now those are
immediately
going
and becomes something you want to engage with later,
replaced
which it
is what
still
is.
does when you get
But
to mapping and you pick up a billion items and you're going to get a full inventory anyway. But I understand why they didn't want identify all.
Honestly, this is like a kind of endless task. It's
Not
like
that I
almost
think
like
it's
you
bad
could
that they
just
added
never
it. I think it's
stop.
great
So,
that they
like,
added it.
we
But
like
that's
to
more of
just
a
do
philosophy thing.
batches at a
They've talked at
time
length about
and send
identify
it, and
all.
we try and do as many as we can, but like each require discussions. They can be quite time consuming. Some are more obvious, where it's like, okay, obvious increase, and others are like, do we want to do this or do we want to rework it? And then you get lost in a rework discussion. It's important to like cut the time. And it's like, actually, look, for now, buff it. We'll come back to it later. But yeah, like we get through as many as we can. We've done a bunch. You know, I could always say, ideally we'd do more, but like, I don't think, again, there's no real end point to that. So yes, sure. I wanted this patch to be very class centric in terms of balance, and like we did.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would say we did a decent chunk, but it's, we didn't get to cover every base 100%. So obviously, like, you got the bloodline classes, you've got grafts, which are character centric, and then we got the whole set of new skills and support gems, and some changes around that. There are a bunch of other changes, but yeah, like, it's that thing where I don't know if I'm ever satisfied. I always just you want to do everything. You want to literally do it all, and you never can. So, like, hopefully there's enough.
Memory tires weren't a problem when I realized you could speed run like lower tier maps for them as well, and just like also speed run through really linear maps. Like
that's the interesting thing about
what the fuck's it called? Cathedral? Not Cathedral. Desecrated Chamber? Desecrated Cathedral? Forget what it's called. That just loops in a circle.
Each league as well.
I got all the memory tires from there.
That you're adding, like ascendancy changes or new skills or whatever.
The issue was using the currency in SSF. I never got to use all the currency.
When it comes to the skill buffs, I think it's more just about, like you said, like someone has like a favorite skill that has been languishing. Some sweep lover is out there just crying still.
It sucks to miss something, like, because you see, because
as soon as I started doing Bistrat though, I stopped getting to spawn them because I fucking took 10 minutes, 12 minutes per map. So if you transition into doing harder content early, I get that they're harder to spawn because you spend more time in each map.
Done as we can. But yeah, like, again, it is ultimately a resource game, and we do as much as we can. We really do, combined with both new stuff to change everything up, bringing like excessive outliers down. And
grats on the 3640. I didn't get that last league.
Upon ourselves to add a bunch of new skills and supports, and so I don't know. There's heaps there, but it's that thing where
fair enough, Count. I've never dropped a hidden cross lock.
You want to do hand casting.
But I have dropped the mirror.
You don't want it to just. I know that's come up, and I think even you mentioned earlier as well. It's just like it devolves down to often, either Archmage or Ephemeral Edge and like that kind of stuff being just like, well, obviously, right, quantifiably better. And so it's the ideal thing where we'd make some changes to some of those, and ideally it'd bring up all of
about 700 hours in. God fucking damn you, man!
Some of it,
I'm sitting on my
just.
I asked support about it.
You never
I think I'm at 8k something.
There will be new metas,
8.3k,
and probably a lot of.
I was at 7.7 before last league, and I got 360 hours on my Steam Deck. And I must have gone more at home, so I'm above 8k for sure. But I don't know how much above 8k I am. I thought it was at like 14k. I remember parroting that before I asked support.
One of the popular archetypes.
I have less time played than I thought I did.
A bit problematic is hand casting, self casting. Spells, and usually I think what gets brought up with that is like slow base cast speed, and that in turn making things like echo feel bad, and mana costs being.
I don't think we've done that enough justice for sure.
Yeah.
But it's certainly on the hit list. Yeah. So we'll.
Yeah, you might be past me, Havel. Then it's actually kind of likely you're past me, right?
In this coming week.
I don't know if that's true. I don't know how much you've played the past leagues, but I feel like I've played more the past leagues than before.
That being said. There's always next expansion as well. But honestly, you never know, because often these external variables, like the new classes and stuff like that, can really change these things.
I guess the time
really
between
I can't speak
the
to
last league being like 10 months, right? Or before the last league.
In this patch first, given how many
Settlers being so long means that you play less because there's a bigger break between leagues. So I guess I haven't actually played more
classes and stuff like that. So we'll see how all that goes. And then we'll just keep doing
that's pretty crazy, Havel, because I played the most before that time. I played religiously from 2012 to 2015.
Keep doing it every single patch as best as we can.
Well, that's
like all I did.
The kind of dominance.
No, I played Smite as well.
And kind of stacking builds in general.
Here's New Earth.
Has been getting mentioned a lot more. Forbidden Ride, Ephemeral Edge, things like that, but also just ES compared to Life as well.
Yeah, it does happen.
Classic.
There are band-aid fixes and stuff like that we always like to do, whether or not you can consider them band-aids or just like, you just change some numbers here and there. Sometimes in the case of like Ephemeral Edge, it can be a matter of like, that's an
1%.
acceptable thing to do. It just shouldn't be so easy to do. So I wouldn't say there's no broad solution here, but I agree that it is a problem where it's like the more traditional just do a thing feels like it's now wrong. It feels like you got to like pre-commit to being like, what is this singular thing I'm going to stack and then pick the thing that scales off of that.
Stacking.
So be it like attributes historically. Not
It used to be Korak, right? Yes.
It's always like,
exactly.
It's always like, you just
Korak
heavily stack this
was
one
my
thing, and, here's a
tag
unique
before
scales of
Melee.
that thing.
I switched to
And it's
Pipsqueak as soon as I started
one card is
Melee.
Interesting. It's like fun.
Korak
that
was
is
what
the
I was
build.
everywhere.
I'm in two hands on it. Like
But
that.
then when every build is just like, okay, well,
Wait,
that's
my
stacking
account
this, that's
name-
stacking that's stacking, and you start going through the builds.
Why the fuck is my account name Blipsqueak?
We definitely like very slowly got here over time. I feel like in the
Yes.
stacking. We're
When
just
did I change
playing kind
to
of like-
Blipsqueak?
yeah, just a little bit at a time.
I mean, it still says I've had the account since 2012. When did the name change?
Primarily comes down to
That's a
mostly to
post-Melee
unique
thing. I've had the
items
account
that
since
are
2012.
Yeah, it's often
When-
Generally,
Yeah,
a unique
2012.
item's special thing is like, what am I going to scale off?
Yeah.
Be it.
I switched from Korak mostly
off
because
evasion, or off armor, or off energy shield, or off life,
I think
or
someone
off
said it
hits,
sounded
or off
German.
mana,
And I was
you
like, I
know,
cannot be
or
German.
off
I
limbs, or off
refuse.
strength, it does end up in that, and then some unique gets added. Like maybe it's one per year, and it's like, oh, here's another 6% increased intelligence. There we go. That build's now just got a little bit more of an edge, and you do kind of just power creep into that point for sure. So
It's like I don't even know like how much of a problem it is, but it's like definitely identifiable that it's like a big aspect of the build meta for PoE1.
it is. I think
muscling
it's
other things out maybe.
I think it's too dominant, but on the other hand,
It's fun though. Like
yeah,
people
it's
like
fun.
stacking
It's
I
builds.
think
cool, it's
trading for
interesting.
gear that you
can
can't
argue it
get at your
makes
level of progression
things
defeats the
kind of
purpose,
it's
for
part
sure.
of PoE to a
I think that's
degree.
where
Actual
SSF,
So
until,
you gotta be careful
like,
with it. You don't
I
wanna
haven't
take
really
away all the
migrated
fun,
over
just
because I
make it
haven't
flat
wanted
and
to bother
boring
with the
on other
headache
hand.
of
But
trading.
you also don't want it to feel like a player's made a mistake by
But
playing something a more
the,
traditional, build. And
But if
so,
you like get to the very
often
very end and you only
so
trade for things
there's a
that
fine line
you
here,
have reasonably reached progression
hard to
for and you
be
could
at
invest the
that
time
fine
into,
line, but
then I
yeah,
don't
some
mind it.
things
But
are
the
a
issue
bit
is like
too
if your
OTT at this
build
point,
can't
and other
beat
things are a little
X
too
boss
far
without
below.
items from
And
X
the other
boss,
problem is if they start
or it
buffing
can't
your
deal with
skills, well, a
T16
lot of those
content
skills
and
might
you
see use, but they'll
need
still see
items
use
that you
in
would
their
only
stacking
reasonably be able to get after you
ecosystem,
reach
and it's like,
T16
well,
content.
have
It's
you
like,
really made a new build at
what are
that
you doing
point?
here?
I think that's sometimes the problem is like, oh, my builds feel the same because ultimately, like, I'm using different skills, but they're all I'm just stacking on all of them or something like that.
I don't have a like. Here's the solution.
Yeah,
because it really
don't know
isn't
if there
how
is
it
one.
actually. It's not really how it
Kind of
plays.
gauging your thoughts on it.
Yeah,
overall.
I mean, I enjoy discussing it. It's just a matter of like, it's honestly
if they keep
500 different solutions, and we need to just chip away at them and
if they keep
mold
the
it, and it will eventually shift
energy
into
shield
something
gained
else.
on block
And then that
node
will be meta, and then that will be
without
completely
nerfing
meta
energy
probably
shield,
after a
it will
while,
be
and
the
then something
dominant
else will
strategy
be.
this
And,
league as well, even without
it's the
Trickster.
cycles. It is balance. It is as I said, it's an infinite amount of work, and we just need to keep doing it. Like you don't give up
Especially
on it
with the
because
added
it's
ascendancies,
can
probably
never be
giving
solved.
alternate
Just
ways
keep
to play
going.
builds that
But as
allow
long
you
as
to
people are
like
having fun,
start in a
and you don't,
place
like,
where you wouldn't.
compromise the philosophy of the game ultimately, then you're winning, right?
Balance is a journey. Yeah, it's not
Where you
about
otherwise wouldn't want to
destination,
because
it's
you only have a few useful nodes.
yeah, for real.
I
So-
mean, sure, it's just the stops along the way.
That's
Every
fair,
expansion.
Count If. I don't know, I think the game is pretty well designed around
Well,
SSF
no
at this
stop on
point.
This expansion I noticed is
There's usually like a
ones,
few
so
things
you did
each
actually
league
mention
that
it
are
last
entertainable in
360
SSF.
Q&A. You said
But I don't really mind that.
I went back and watched, and,
Progression-wise, I feel like it's perfectly fine to do in SSF. There's a reason Ben gets through it
and
before anyone in trade does.
There to help wonders out. 'cause
Yeah. I mean, there's a couple things. There's like a bit of a hidden.
The main
gem
thing is that you're like how wide your
attack
scope.
mod only
You need to
one
have
base types
you
is
need to have a
in
good
the
understanding
series
of the
now.
checklists you have to
So
fill
they're-
in order
they're
to
literally- and they're kind of themed more around kinetic.
progress in that way. Though
And so
you need your
there's always
build to
been a bit of
already
an
like
annoyance. Like there is a place for the
click
hybrids, but
in
that's
or
been a
not
bit
click
of an
in, like
annoyance, and now
tick
we
all
get
the
like,
boxes.
pure attack
And if you
ones
know that
to
it
help
does
it a
that,
bit
then it's
easier to
fine.
roll for
But if your
those
build is
builds.
like
You've got
unknown
way
and you
more of
don't
a
know what
skill
you're
set to
gunning
pick from
for,
now.
then yes, you do wanna.
And
You do need
then,
trade as a
I mean,
crutch to do stuff.
Generally speaking, the skills they can be pretty hectic. They can scale pretty well.
Kinetic random is very hectic.
But yeah, I don't know. It's kind of a cool theme, just like that general kind of like physical kinetic energy kind of thing going on. We had a little bit of it with kinetic bolt, kinetic blast. So we just extrapolated on that theme. And
I feel like Wonders, if
you got your
the
Wonders
wall
and
skill is
the
strong
thing,
enough,
and
it's just
then-
gonna be absurdly
we
strong.
also added a little bit of like kind of wind magic, some tornado stuff.
It's like a force wall that you can.
Yeah, the kind of
blast with
force
kinetic
wall.
blast.
You've got like a little bit of inspired by Huntress from PoE 2 a little bit with some of the
I'm also
you know,
really interested in the tornado spell they showed.
The other day and saw some
you have to
QA
walk out of
playing
to
and I'm
explode.
like, oh, someone's embracing the tornadoes, and he's like, "That's not even half the
And
tornadoes."
also fucking champ with
Sweet, all right,
ignite
yeah,
bow
that's
clear,
and I walked out of the room.
and then explosive arrow or something for single target.
Like Act 1 through 4 yesterday.
Like a
on
weapon
Wonder,
swap.
I
The
was
build
like,
should be
"Man,
very
this is
similar.
So good. I was having the time of my life.
Oh.
Like, oh my lord.
Or maybe they scale off the same stuff. They didn't really
And it's like it's not just the
say how it
ones,
scaled
but, like, it actually
differently.
pairs pretty well with
If
the
it
other
scales
ones
off
that are,
like a
added
flat
elements
damage amount and not your bow, then
it all kind of
oh.
came together a bit. It's like
cool.
I definitely in the past I just kind of like wrote ones off. I was like, yeah, they're never gonna get to ones. It's like forgotten about.
It's always been pretty kind of just it's niche. It's actually an interesting thing. I mean, obviously,
Skill Gem is on the league page. The league page is out.
On PoE, and I always thought I was like, yeah, that's kind of cool. Like that wands that aren't about just spellcasting. It's they're about doing attack damage. I thought it was interesting.
Pistol arrow style. That's what I like about it. Dual ones.
Yeah, this might be the largest update to wand attackers that we've ever had in now like 15 years or something. So
it's just finally, look, I know there's some people in the chat that have been a long time waiting for this one.
Yeah, you're
I
right.
hate the term womb
It's
gift.
finally come. It's good
cool.
stuff.
Yeah, there's a few other little gems in there as well, like some fire archer kind of things, and there's some that we want to still extrapolate on, but like wands was the main focus.
Yeah, definitely a lot of love for ones and pairing in nicely with the added skills from the hand on the back as well.
That's a good foul-born item.
There. So we kind of touched on it a little bit earlier.
It's a really good
curious about
foul-born item.
the long-term development of PoE 1. Like, how much is PoE Classic, PoE 1 kind of like sacrosanct to you? Like, how much do you like not want to change it? Or because you've been taking things from PoE 2 and feeding them back into PoE 1, and I'm curious, like, is there points you get to where you're like, well, actually, let's not push it too much closer to PoE 2 in that direction, but keep it its own thing, or maybe like actually let's kind of preserve it as it is to some extent.
I wouldn't want PoE 1 to ossify into something where we feel like
It's a separate damage over time debuff.
But
Sounds cool though.
It uses the
it's kind of
stacking
like-
mechanic
okay,
of
the
explosive
stuff
arrow.
that
That's
that
so
we'll
cool.
probably take back from PoE 2 is more around the sort of QOL areas of stuff, right? So obviously, people would have been rioting if we hadn't brought async trade from PoE 2.
Oh no,
to PoE 1.
it's
That's
20
obviously,
stuck
something
arrows,
right,
but they
so
don't
it's been
stack
sort of
on a
nice that we get to do
target.
little
I
bit of,
see.
like proving grounds in some cases in PoE 2 for some of those changes to see whether or not it'll be okay. The thing we wouldn't ever do to PoE 1 is make changes that would break what people like about it fundamentally. So
I think
there's
the
things
skill
like
is gonna
the
feel
trickiest
so good to
parts,
play.
things like the way that item drops are and stuff like that. Like, I don't know that, like, even though there are things I don't like about that, I don't think we could necessarily change them either. In terms of so like there's stuff like that.
Depends on the
you
radius.
just have to
If your
kind of
AoE scales to
let
trigger
it be, because
AoE,
they
it's
can
gonna be sick.
easily break stuff that people really like.
It kind of raises the question, like, what is it about PoE 1 that does need to be kept, that is kind of what makes it feel like itself, that people do love about it?
I think that it's hard to even define that, quite frankly, because like it's a mix of things. I mean, look, the thing that PoE 1, I guess, has become
That's fair
known
count.
for, as opposed
Hope
to
you find
PoE,
something that works for you.
2 is just like the combat pace stuff, like where it's just like ultra fast in a lot of ways.
Gain a soul
but it's
per
not like there
second.
was like a goal to make PoE 1 like that either. It just kind of is,
Yeah.
and so you wouldn't like it's I wouldn't even want to nerf that about PoE 1, right? Like, it just is how that is, right? So that's like really the fundamental difference. But the thing is, I think actually
Primal
that the
Owl
community
is
sees more differences
ridiculously
between
strong
the two games than what we do.
for like a duo,
from our perspective, like, it's like they're
like 2-6 link or whatever setup. With Unleash.
I don't even know how to really get into this exactly. But
Memory
it's like,
tears and
we're
strands
just
and
trying to
stuff
make
are
a good
still
game.
in.
It's like, it's not like we changed design philosophy or anything like this, right? Like, it's the same design philosophy from the same designers.
Yeah.
Like going on in both. It's more just a question of like
These are so worthless comparatively. Primal Owl
it's
looks
kind of
ridiculous.
become part of its DNA, and so we can't really change that. And so so when it comes down to stuff like that, we'd take from PoE 2 to PoE 1. Well, it's just like all the things that PoE 1 players would like, and none of the things that
Shame
PoE
it
1
doesn't
players
say
wouldn't
magic.
Really. I mean, look, that's ultimately.
It'd be cool if it said magic, so you could do white utility flasks or unique.
Before, where it's like, okay, we're like PoE
Probably a
1
bit
is
too
in some kind
strong.
of perfect state that needs to be preserved forever. Like, I don't think it's like that. We do need to be able to make changes. So yeah, it's just a question of.
I think a pivot with PoE 2
That's pretty strong.
and this isn't obviously black or white, But
That's kind of really strong, actually.
PoE 1
That's really strong on some builds.
This is still true. We still want to bring in new players. But I would say PoE 1 now, it's more important to us to keep the PoE 1 player base, the fans of the game, the long-term players, the people who love PoE 1 happy, as opposed to going, we need more new players, we bring people in. Whereas obviously PoE
I can already say that
game, there's a new audience available, that kind of thing. So obviously, we still want people who
Fire
love
Rain
PoE
skill
1 love PoE 2. That's
makes
the ideal
a
world.
champ starter like a
But that being said,
like
when
a
we're
guaranteed
looking at PoE
smash
1,
hit.
We're not going to like try and do anything that's going to compromise what the fans love about it in order to bring in a new set of players at this point. Like I would say that's going to be pretty rare. So it's about making sure that the people who do love the game continue to love the game, and that's why you're probably going to see less in the way of like some
interacting with other players is the goal.
change to all kinds of stuff.
In trade, I feel it's fun to interact with other players. Though carries is not the most
if
fun
that
thing.
change would bring in
Selling
a bunch
carries
of
is
new
fun.
players. Like I think making sure you have a good popular game that people love will inherently bring people in, because people will see that positivity and be like, I'm going to give this game a try. I'm
forcing my friends to play this league that haven't played before.
Happy. And whereas obviously with PoE 2 it's a bit of a different story, where we really did think like, we want to, there's a new room for a new audience here, there's room for a different audience, like we want to make sure we get as many of those players as possible. What would it take to do so? But ultimately, end of the day, what that then ended up boiling down to, aside from obviously modernizing graphics,
I only sent one trade
changing
whisper
the
in
feel of
PoE 2.3. What did he buy?
Honestly,
The
the
thing
biggest
is,
change is just balance.
I don't necessarily
That's
even
fair,
think
Havel.
about it, I think, in the same ways. Like, I'm not thinking I'm making changes to bring in new players. I'm thinking, like, what are the things
Leveling
that I
weapon?
want
Yeah,
to
makes sense.
improve that I think that we can't change about PoE 1.
Guess who was right? Yeah, I mean, the
Somewhat
end game in
like,
PoE 2 is where everyone gets bored.
Would be impossible to change just due to the game field changing so much.
Yeah.
And so, like, really for me, it's like, I'm on a 20-year quest to make the perfect ARPG, right? That's my sort of like design thing. And it's like nothing actually changed between PoE 1 and 2 philosophically, other than just learning about some things and deciding, I want to improve things in certain ways.
Beep boop, beep boop. It's 11. Release the fucking notes. It's 11. Release the notes.
With respect to, like, outside of talking about dexterity and stuff like that. Honestly,
Yes, that continues.
most of it is just like we just kind of get real passionate and just start coming up with real cool ideas of shit that sounds cool that we want to deliver. Like, we're not really having discussions about like, hey, okay, today, Jonathan, let's have a discussion about how many new players we can bring in.
The campaign,
Like,
the
we don't
first
do
time
that.
around in PoE
So,
2 is great.
I'm trying to boil
If you
down
get that
what
enjoyment out of
we
it, that's
are.
awesome.
I'm
It's the
try- I'm
gateway
trying
drug to
turn it into a
PoE
philosophy,
1.
But the reality is, the process is just like, how can we make cool shit? That's it. Cool shit that's fun, that doesn't like compromise things in too thing of a way. Things people will love, things people will enjoy. That is the ultimate goal at the end of the day. As I said, making whatever the visions are of this infinite quest of making the perfect ARPG. So like, it's always interesting trying to be like, how can what are the
They
rules?
always
What are
say
we gonna
that.
change? At the end of the day, it's just like, well, I don't know. We'll just continue to make cool shit. And
But one
that's
day-
just
one day
generally
you'll
what we're
get
gonna
them.
do. And so I don't know. It's actually a little bit hard to try and decipher that down into like a set of rules or something. It's like I don't know. If it's cool, if it's fun, if people love it, then it's a win. And
It's good that both games have a bit of room to breathe on their own then, because you
Yeah,
can
this
present
Q&A has had the best vibes in a long time.
objectively like limits to what sort of improvements you can make to the game. But I do have an important question for you both.
It does feel like
what
they just...
bonus should dexterity give you?
Oh, jeez.
Okay, this is important.
Got a few hours.
See, I know this is...
Yeah, dexterity is the odd one out. Dexterity is not interesting and not good to stack on its own, unlike the other two stats. Dexterity, accuracy, hard caps, and evasion is not a good defense layer. So dexterity is the fucking black sheep of the free stats. The odd one out, the goofy one.
Just nothing.
It's organic.
What I was gonna say is, it definitely feels like they landed the goals they had,
Come over to PoE1,
and a lot of the doubts on if they could manage it
initially
have
like,
been dispelled.
There's not a question about that because it went into PoE2, it worked.
The air of like worry is mostly dissolved.
Not really, to be honest. Like, I think it basically. I mean, the fact that PoE1 got the gold already kind of meant that it can kind of work. But
Yeah, the gold is a thing though. Like
it is because of the fact that the gold is more scarce in PoE1 more valuable for other things.
Used.
Yes. It's more used for other things. Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, we had to do a little bit of balance around that.
that's been
obviously,
tackled
but
then.
also like we do have to go through and assign gold prices to everything in the game, and obviously because PoE1 has a lot more different items and stuff going on, we did have to go through and do all of that. So yeah, it wasn't just like immediate. We had to consider, well, hold on, people. The gold balance already was kind of like, tight. Like, so it's in that spot of like,
Remember to grab your stuff.
Some people are like, I want more. And you do want people wanting more. And so now all of a sudden, there's this extra thing that's a cost. So we have to obviously account for that. What else was there though? I mean, ultimately, it's mostly just, I guess the console.
Yeah, so there's like the thing. So console previously had a kind of like trade board thing, which is made pretty much entirely redundant by this. So that old trade board is getting ported over into this system now. So that's
we're actually deploying that. Just a fun fact.
Can you just merge the economies?
We're deploying that a bit. The removal of that a bit early because we need.
That would make playing on console way more appetizing.
Before the new system is put in place, due to just like database migration kind of territory things. So we're doing that like a couple days early to remove the console trade board, and then a couple days later, 327 releases. So there'll be a little bit. We'll do a whole post about that, just about what happens to those items. You don't lose your items; they all get put in remove only tabs and all of that stuff. But yeah.
Well, I'll tell you for the PoE 1 only players who maybe haven't tried it in PoE 2 yet, it's been pretty phenomenal.
Right.
The Secret Australia is definitely like a massive quality of life improvement and very, very pleasing to use. It's
Does this game make PoE 2 a good game, or should I keep not playing that one? This is PoE 1, Munch. Nothing that's happening here is PoE 2.
I wouldn't want people to think just because it's
PoE 2 is worth playing for the campaign, but the end game is pretty undercooked. It's still better than like Diablo, but it's not at a level where I'm like I would enjoy it for very long. You kind of like fizzle out. So I mean, I wouldn't play it right now, but the initial campaign is very good.
that's actually wild.
If you play the campaign on launch, there's nothing that's worth playing now in PoE 2 in my opinion.
I'm not sure. I actually haven't followed.
It's better now in pretty much every way, but not enough to like warrant
if not, it'll just
replay.
Be mid-league or something. You know what I mean? Like we'll try as soon as it's done on both games, it'll get deployed.
Since you're on it, was there like a reason why you can't mouse over items in like your sold items log to see what they were? Like I like that information to be like, oh, what was that sold for 2D of?
Tried that.
Mage Blood isn't necessary to make kinetic bolt work, and also you've got more support this league than ever before.
We discussed originally allowing that. I think. I remember discussing that before doing it, and we were like, "That would be cool. That would be the thing we want to do."
Probably doesn't store it at the moment because it's like
a tech thing for that.
It's not like, I mean, we could probably do it, but
okay.
Yeah, it probably should.
Potentially on the cards then. It certainly would be nice. Like I like that.
But yeah, Munch, they made PoE 1 better.
Logging in the morning to all the currency and seeing what's sold for what.
But effectively, I think that
join us, become one of us.
Experience would be the thing that kind of like the next frontier of like in terms of the in-game UI trade searching sort of stuff.
The next slippery slope to slide down to?
As long as we don't all of a sudden have like stock market-esque UIs.
No, we're not gonna get that. Like, basically, we have to find a way to do that stuff that doesn't get overcomplicated.
Yeah.
So like but then that's the tricky part. Like trying to improve that.
Yeah,
and you're banned, Munch. Can't believe you reject me like this and everything I stand for.
I think there is like an interesting like opportunity you guys have to be able to help make that like much
guards get them
right.
Stand for better things,
which is a very complex affair typically. So but it's interesting that that's on the cards, that's something you're exploring, pushing further, not just kind of leaving.
But I don't think that's going to come all in one grand moment. So this time might be just being able to.
I'm incensed.
Modifier keys you have to hold.
Jesus, I'm incensed.
There's some modifier keys you can do to like effectively search for the item that you've got under your cursor.
You're probably not even standing at your standing desk right now. True, I'm not. I need to get a. It's actually something I'm buying pretty soon. Finally, I just need to like procure
the thing that
a drill, but I need something to hang my
being able to do that right and
exactly like PC case under the desk, so like all the cables follow up.
Need a little bit of UX.
That would make things a lot easier.
Yeah,
and better for Dust.
Because with the right UX, you could really communicate.
Manastorm is a really good, unique PoE. Last league, they got enabled in a way that you couldn't really play it before.
Trade is like, it was obviously
snapshotting with it.
Like for a very long time, you guys were rightfully afraid of like what would be the economic implications of this? How would it affect gearing and progression? And like, I guess, like, firstly, what has been kind of the use rate of asynchronous trade? Like, have people been using it?
So we were checking on this recently. I think that you got them to look up the numbers on that, and it ended up being around 50-50.
Just under half
Here's Mana Storm.
were using the new system in PoE 2. So
When you
far,
cast a spell, sacrifice all mana to gain added maximum lightning damage equal to 50% of sacrifice mana for 4 seconds. So you would cast one spell and then you had 4 seconds of just absurd added lightning on a mana stacker.
That kind of thing. Like there was a few things like that we would need to sort of look at to see, like, you know, questions around that. But yeah, I mean, look, it's people who are using it seem to like it. I mean,
the reason you could play it this time was because you had the refund tattoo or whatever, the graft that gave you mana back when projectiles like expired or returned to you, whatever. And Kinetic Bolt spawned so many projectiles, so you got like insane mana recovery.
And then most people are like, I'm just going to pay the extra cost because I can't be bothered with
Exactly.
doing it. So, I agree.
It's pretty clunky but very strong.
Right.
Cost of money, yep.
Yeah.
But yeah, and it's important to note as well, and I just want to always verify this, if you are a PoE 2 player and you do have your merchants tabs, you have them in PoE 1 already. You don't need to buy new ones.
Good.
They are shared, just to reiterate.
So, what do you think has been the
Yeah, Mana Storm is pretty complicated.
And gearing.
You can Google, you can look on YouTube for like a Mana Storm build. There's a few different ones, and you can see there how involved they get. See if that's a level you're comfortable with.
Harder to appreciate.
My guess is they currently no, but at some point,
I
yes.
think it does matter, and like the things we were concerned about are real. It's just that like it's really hard to kind of quantify that. And I sort of suspect that at the end of the day, the benefits just outweigh that by much higher degree, to the point where like it honestly, you know, like just should have just done it.
Was the cost that needed to be paid.
But the thing that you were just saying, right, is that like those kind of like mid items are like now worthless kind of thing, and that is exactly the fear that we had, right? Like that's the concern.
Yes, Jonathan was asking me before this, like what has been my feeling of like how it's affected my experience, and like I was saying, I'm the player who lives in that 5 to 10 C sale range, like selling those items for 5 to 10 chaos.
And that is exactly the fear that like introducing fast trade does.
If anything, this boosts those items, right? Because now you can comfortably leave them up and expect people to sell and buy them without, you know, being like, oh, we're late in league. Why am I selling an item for 1 chaos? Are you stupid? I'm not going to spend the time.
For sure.
Yeah. But it's sort of also hard to know exactly what's going to happen with PoE 1 as well, just because there's so many more items, like there's so much more going on. So like maybe the breadth of the economy will kind of change the dynamics a little bit there. But it's hard to say. It's really hard to say.
Well, like it's an interesting mixture of phenomena. Like you get the ability to obtain like your starter endgame gear for 5 exalts total. Like you can buy a set of gear basically for 1 exalt each.
Right.
So like that's obviously there's a big impact there. That,
for sure. I mean that's like, that once again that is the fear, right?
It's just the like the standard now, the bar for like the quality of our gear is raised to a certain point. And then I guess that has follow-up questions like, you know, as to how powerful crafting is, how powerful like item drops are when you first get to early end game, like how difficult the content is. Obviously, there's like
one perk of lowering the barrier for trade
look at what
in this way
and the thing is
and make it more appealing is that being a good crafter becomes more even more lucrative than before, because people will put up more unfinished items that they don't realize are unfinished.
Even though we've got this experience now with PoE 2, we're just going to really just have to see what happens.
If you know what to look for, it'll be exceptionally easy to make a fuck ton of money just crafting gear.
But it's going to come down to the individual.
I mean, either way though, like the amount of people I saw just being like, please just deploy a league. I don't care if there's nothing in it. As long as the trade system's there,
but this is the
play.
thing, right? Like it just kind of has to happen. Like it doesn't even matter. Like there can be problems and we'll adjust for them, but we still have to do it anyway.
But of course, like,
so you know, like
it's
that's
such an improvement.
Yeah, I'm loving it.
I'm excited.
It's
good.
It's so good.
It's very very good.
But yeah, it's certainly going to be interesting to explore this.
People
like,
coffee. Are you gonna be the one flipping?
How it looks like if we start to see things over time.
That would be cool.
The best leagues are when I land on a profit craft. Makes sense.
10 years ago,
trading does not require third-party tools. They have made asynchronous trading in-game. Like you can put up a thing in-game, and now you can search for it in-game and everything too.
Sacrilegious back then to say.
We are, but you know,
I know. I'm not.
It's like
it's a good thing. It's
it
good.
is. It is.
It's
but-
healthy evolution. It's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So moving on to some kind of mixed questions. Mercenaries was mentioned to be likely returning after rebalance, redesign.
Yeah,
in
what
some
are you doing
cases.
with
I'm
this?
just curious, like, does that mean that like some sort of horrible mercenaries are planned to come back, or is it more just about like having the duels there with the gambling or something like that?
The intentions they come back. There's just a little bit of figuring. I mean, like with all these things, we have to figure out exactly what. It's very hard to develop. We like to see how players think about it, find the bad things, find the good
It's
things.
broken.
And it's very hard to develop how it goes into core straight away, because then you'd be working on that, and some things might change, and then you end up wasting a bunch of time. It's way easier to let it end, be able to process everything all in one collective, and then make the changes and bring it back together. But like, what does it look like? It's a great new player tool. It's great, like, or you know, less skilled players experience tool. But like, what does it look like when it's not the active league? Like, I don't want a mercenary in every area, and you know, there's all these kinds of like things you got to mess around with and change about how they appear. Is it on the Atlas tree? Are there scarabs for it? Like, what does that even mean? I don't know.
You'd have to make it sort of
you
like
know, all the way through
D2
to,
mercenaries more so than they are
you know,
now.
Were we happy with how they were itemized? Like,
But
you know,
probably with
we thought it
lower
was
relative power.
too free to just put all the uniques on them without really caring about the downside. Like, they would, you know, there's like they weren't balanced quite right. There
What's
was
the name of the rune word?
so terrible. And
Mercenary.
so there's just
that,
heaps of stuff to change. It's really hard to do that when you're in the middle of the
That
league and
broke
where you're
lightning
gathering
in
all that information.
D2.
So,
I forget what the rune word was.
Generally, and this is what you find with a lot of leagues, you get the league, you get a break, and then it comes back 1 or 2 leagues later because it's given us enough time to work out all those kinks and put it in game.
Merc gearing was a lot easier
Like,
than
so I
regular
like
character gearing,
mercenaries,
thankfully. But
I
yeah,
also see it as
Inside,
like,
yes,
something
Inside.
that I don't know if I want it to always like you
I
to
agree.
always
Yeah.
have to hire a mercenary.
I agree.
'Cause it would be mandatory, right?
And that
Because
would
We
be-
already
and
ran
then
into the
this
problem
is
back
thing
then.
with additive
Dorian
power
is at
as well,
home.
At the moment you've got that. Well, what's the reason why you don't do it?
Proto
That's answering that
Doriani.
question, I think is like
so that's
part of
something you're
the.
trying to figure out. Then is
Yeah, you'd have to have a
So
reason.
if you had a permanent mercenary and then permanent grafts and
Exactly.
like,
Yeah,
it
will
just
we
keeps
now
getting
have to
going.
start watering down the power systems?
Exactly,
and-
right. There's questions
Yeah.
there. But I think there
hard.
should be a way to bring them back, and you just need to find the right way to do it that doesn't involve everyone has a mercenary all the time now, which is fine in a league, but I don't think fine for just the game overall.
Yeah, so I imagine when it comes back, it'll be some sort of more
Was it
like
inside?
limited or
Oh, I'm looking
Maybe.
at
Honestly,
D2
it's hard to say. It's hard
Resurrected.
to say at this point.
yeah, like I imagine there's like a lot of different ways you could go with that. Whether it's like they're tied to a skill gem or they're tied to a certain ascendancy or something
Right.
like that. But I mean, it's a cool design. Like it would be cool to have them back in some capacity.
Yeah, no, for sure.
No, it's not
I'm
inside.
sure they'll come back eventually. It's just
Crescent
power.
Moon?
We
Yeah,
already
that
said
sounds
they
about
were,
right.
So they are.
Yeah, you promised when you when you said mercenaries and then the graphs, and I was like, what's that game with the giant rolling ball that just sucks up all the entire city? Like I was like imagining
Yeah.
Exile's just kind of becoming
That's
that
the
over
one.
time.
Yeah, don't want to just turn the game into just like everyone's an auto bomber. You know, with all their just like league mechanics just killing everything for them. You know,
Katamari, thanks, Charlie. That's the one. Yes, giant Katamari ball exiles. So we did touch on gold. That was good. Heist is mentioned as getting the Trathan gems added to it to give it a little bit more. It got some nice quality of life improvements. But something that I saw that was an interesting question was. So at one point, Heist had these like extra modifiers you could get on contracts to
Psych.
make them more interesting.
Hope you had a good
I
stream.
don't really have anything like
Did
that.
you
and
look
I'll go
outside?
so far as to say right now, Heist doesn't really have any decision making. How are you guys feel about the state of Heist overall?
it's not good enough. And this is the part of the problem is we were having. It's like, we want to do this kind of like mid to grand rework for it, like make it better.
That's good, Psych.
and
The
change
first
this
thing I
and
did
change
in that game 2
And
seconds
then
in was
that
look
honestly
outside.
what was holding up that QOL change where it's just like,
Right,
'cause
yeah.
we
No.
also, like,
I did 4
design
hours
it
of porn
out
game
such
before
that
this.
The rogues don't have the levels.
It's been
and-
2 hours
and
of
we was waiting on that, and I was like, okay,
Puff
at
XL
this
League
point,
talk.
It's been too long. We don't know when we're going to be able to do this. We can't say with certainty because again, the same
Okay, good,
resourcing
Psych.
limits, the same
That's good.
argument as Charlie. The answer's the
It's
same.
a cool
as
game. I really like Look
we have to
Outside.
pick our battles. There's more
I watch
battles
a
than
YouTuber
before.
called Dosh
And
Doshington,
so,
and
the same thing, it was
he
like, okay, well,
started his
we're not
Look
doing this
Outside
anytime
review with
soon,
like,
then, yeah, we
you
just-
should
we
play
do
it.
this-
Don't be
this
the guy who
QOL
gets his
change
opinions
and,
from a
you
YouTube
know, we'll
video.
make little
You don't want to be that
incremental
cringe
improvements
guy.
to it
And I'm
all
like,
the time, but
I
yeah,
don't
it's
want to
one
be
of
that
those
cringe
ones that
guy.
needs some love
I
for
guess I'll
sure.
play Look Outside, and I play Look
it'll come
Outside.
Eventually, we cycle through everything eventually. So yeah, I mean, I just when I don't know. You know, you never know. You never know with these things because we assess the battles every time and we try and pick the best fought ones. And I know there'll be some people who are like, "Heist should be your #1 priority battle," but like I don't think that's the majority vote
Patch
right
notes
now.
should be coming out soon here.
We try and make sure
which I'm excited for.
Heist is a tricky one because like I think it always suffered a bit of an identity and mechanics issue as to like, what is it supposed to be? Is it a stealth thing? Is it a just run through as fast
I'll be
as you
doing
can?
live reading on
What's the
that.
Oh, for
decision-making
sure.
for it?
Wow.
But it's also like simultaneously, it is quite well loved by the people who like it, and it had like a lot of flavor and cool characters and stuff in it. Like that, so
Well,
it seems worth salvaging.
It's definitely rich of character involvement, NPCs and lore and stuff like that. So it's nice, and it
I named my
sucks.
daughter after one of the characters. So you better
What?
save the mechanic, please.
That's cool.
Who was that?
I do hope.
Was it
Talina.
I was going to say.
Talina's
I was
a good
going to
name.
suggest one of the crazy character.
I hope they do get to Heist at some point. It's not very interesting right
I
now.
don't know why you named her that. That's your choice.
I'm a fan, okay? It comes up every now and then, of course. Campaign and leveling. At one point, I think like Path of Exile 2 was kind of like the thing that people were looking for to help save kind of the campaign experience for PoE1. But obviously, it's a separate game now. So.
Yeah.
But you've done some nice improvements, like adding new things and doing a few little streamlinings of earlier acts. Is this something that you're still looking to continue, especially with the context of you're saying that you're like not really beholden to trying to seek out new players now, so it might not be as important as it once was, but
I would argue it's more important.
Interesting.
Because those campaign changes are what helps it keep fresh for people who are replaying the game.
Sure.
Yup.
It's actually it's way more important for the existing players. So yeah, it is something I do want to keep doing for sure.
Great.
I liked the adding
I
of
really
things,
like these
different
too.
things happening in different zones.
They're
And
very good at
you
talking.
can kind of restructure some of the areas a little bit and add a little thing here and there. I
They've
like
really
doing all
grown
that
from
for
the
sure.
early ones. The
So
early
yeah, I
dev
would
streams they
expect
had.
to continue
Especially
seeing things. I don't think
Mark.
we have anything particular in 327 for that, but it will. At some point we'll certainly be doing another set of things, and we'll try and keep that up pretty consistently. If not on a patch by patch basis, at
The
least.
fact that the
every year
new
you get
league
certain
will make
seasons
mod
and
flats
stuff
not
like
a
that, just to
ROA
have it feel a
hell
bit
for this
fresh.
one league is so funny.
I also like the things you just get to integrate like some other random league into the campaign somewhere in a few areas. It's like, oh, these areas are being overrun by X or something. It helps it feel a little bit cool, and the world is changing, and it's not just this static thing all of the time. So
Yeah, I like the deeper integration of league mechanics into the campaign that you've been doing in PoE2 and to a lesser extent in PoE1. It's cool. That's good. It's a good way to introduce that stuff to people over time as well. Did you ever have like a crazy fever dream where you like dreamt having like a league where you have some alternate leveling experience besides the campaign?
A bit of a tricky,
What a
tricky one to do. Honestly.
Good way to phrase that.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I'm pretty sure that has been something we've discussed for a very short amount of time, a long time ago. But don't know if we.
Do you ever
can
have a
really-
dream? You ever dream of something better
yes,
than
I've had some
today?
fever dreams about it, but I was just trying to remember what it was, but it couldn't work. I just remember.
Because I know, like, people ask about it every time, and I'm like, I guess I'll ask in a creative way this classic
Right.
question of, like, another way to level for the people who just don't like the campaign.
Right.
Like, I know that you guys, you just want to make the campaign as good as possible. Like, the answer is always, we'll make the campaign better.
Yeah.
But then I thought, like, a league as a throwaway thing wouldn't be that permanent problem.
It would.
I don't know about that one.
Pandora's box. Hello, Pandora.
That's why
You don't want to give something that's The problem is they'll like directly compete, and one will clearly be better, and then everyone will just do that.
You can just make it really awful, and then they'll be like,
let's just make some terrible content.
Terrible
No one
content.
will
Yeah.
ask for
Stick
it
it to
ever
'em.
again.
It's a good idea.
What is it?
Solves the problem.
Yes. It's
No,
not.
I do want to keep making it fresh, and again integrating. I want the leagues to integrate into the campaign better and feel unique. Like, I don't know if you've noticed, it is a thing in PoE2, and we're going to start doing it in PoE1. Every single area for Rise of the Abyssal has a guaranteed drop that drops from the chest.
Yeah, it's great.
And I don't know how many people actually know this. I know it's not a secret.
The racers know.
Yeah, and then like I think like for example, the Molten Vault in Act 3 has a guaranteed unique drop for the first time you do an Abyss there. And so you get to do that thing where you get to like, and I want to make sure we're gonna do this system in PoE 1 by the way with Keepers of the Flame, where you get like a kind of extra handcrafted guaranteed drop that we pick.
Cool.
For each area in the campaign. So there's a little bit of like, what's it going to be in this area and this area? And so, it'll help ideally if we do our job
God damn
right.
it. You don't like it?
Just like be like, I'm going to skip every single area, get to endgame and then care about it. Which is
Being
still a
rewarded
fine
for league
strategy,
mechanic
by the way.
rather than
Go
skipping it.
for
Oh no.
But yeah, I don't know. Maybe you'll second guess some of it now, and you work out which areas you want to do. You know, I like that, but I want to make the active league feel more important in the campaign as well. So as much as we can do to strive towards having that be the case is always fun. I obviously understand though that like
Okay, so where's Tabula?
insanely an accelerant player, you don't need it.
When
right?
do you give me
Just
7
get
league
to
step?
endgame and then deal with it. You might
Between
wanna
Act
save
1
the
and Act
time,
2,
but, like, a lot of
ideally.
people do
I would
want to
like
engage
7
with it.
league
A
steps,
lot of
somewhere
people
between level
want to
10
play the new league
to
in
level
the
5 to
campaign,
level 10.
so you know we should take every
When you can
motivation
equip
we
it.
can to try and make it happen, and that way the campaign can feel more enjoyable. Not just be seen as a thing I
It's
need
never
to get
correct to
through.
do on league start.
But there'll always be a bit of that, and there's not really much you can do about it. So it's really the fight to keep it as feeling as fresh as possible, and with heaps of stuff going on. But it's part of that is the motivation of why we do leagues in the first place, right? Like you want to come back and have this new thing going on in the world. Imagine if you came back.
It would be
and
correct.
There wasn't even a league. You know, imagine you came back and it's like, okay, there's some balance.
Well, it's for
changes,
racing
but,
and stuff,
like,
right?
What else is going on? You know, so. You know, like it.
Not that I know
even
if
we
there's going to be a
understand
lot
that
of
you must
racing.
have the
Probably
league in
not.
order for the campaign to not just feel the same.
And it's cool for people who don't race
true.
to just have cool stuff happening.
And I think like the ones that have had less impact on the campaign have certainly been a little bit less exciting for that
For sure.
initial leveling experience.
Yeah, for sure, because it's just the same as before, except kind of honestly maybe worse. You know, and then you really want to feel like the world is different, something's going on, something you're engaging with you didn't before, and you know.
Anyway, I'm a campaign enjoyer. Sorry, I like it, but I got to rep the diverse opinions out there.
PoE 1 campaign is so much
Oh,
less
for sure.
annoying
It's
and frustrating than
commonly brought
PoE
up.
2
It's always worth
campaign.
discussing, 100%.
It's a classic.
We
for sure.
compromise
It's
on
less
goal,
cool
we compromise on trade.
when
you
it's
know,
cool.
It's always good
But
for
it's
people
also
to
way
ask what
smoother.
else we-
Yeah, I like to
and
check
how
in
we
And it's
see
very
where
nice how
yeah,
the
see where we
like
are
progression
and what,
scales.
you know,
I really like the
nothing's set in
PoE 1
stone forever.
campaign at this point.
Maybe this one is, but we'll see.
Maybe next Q&A.
I think Act 4 is probably my
So, a question I
most
saw
disliked
was
one.
Interesting was how does GGG track bugs? What's the best?
No,
way
maybe Act
to
3
record them?
actually.
And the kind of
Act
like,
3 I really don't
the
like the
example was,
current
like, they
iteration
had
of.
a specific transfigured skill gem as like an ice golem that doesn't work.
It's
with
saved by
support
the
gems.
fact
It
that
has
that's when a lot of your
so
build
much,
comes
it's
online,
like
so
stuff
Act 3
getting
feels
lost
better
in the
mechanically,
world.
but I think the actual act
Unfortunately,
itself
one
is
of the
pretty bad.
realities of live service development is okay. So if we're going to make a league by a certain deadline, like every time we're looking at each issue and being like, okay, is this more important than getting this league finished? And it's really, really hard to prioritize some of those things in some cases. Like they should get attention eventually, but it's like we have like, you know, I have no idea how many open issues there are in our bug tracker. It could easily be tens of
Like
thousands.
that Act 9 has 3 dead ends, I agree with that.
Yeah, like it will be. And like this is one of those things where like
Complicated games.
like we have this thing where it's like, okay,
I really don't
here's
like
something that might
the...
affect 0.1% of players.
Scorpion boss fight.
Like it's really, really hard.
But
to
everybody
prioritize
knows
over,
that.
like, you know,
Everybody
here's
feels
the
that
new
way.
content
Oh
that's
my god,
everyone's
it's
gonna be
so
playing.
slow, man.
So
I think you could
people do
keep
get
that
slack
and then
time, but they
move
can just kind of work
the
on random things like
the
that, but,
basilisk
like,
into the same zone as
you might
what
find
was his
something
name
as
is, like the
simple as,
calendar
like,
guy, the
skill doesn't get
Thunderback or
affected by
whatever.
support gems.
Stoneback,
Could take
yeah,
5
I forget what his
seconds,
name
hasn't
is.
really been observed
The calendar
or
of fortune.
is an option.
or
It's going to take 5 weeks to implement some giant refactor, and
Right.
honestly, we should have just deleted the skill and added 15 others. You know
Right,
what I mean?
right.
Like,
Yeah.
it's honestly kind of hard to know, and it's easy to go look at that single thing after this because you happen to bring it up. And like,
I gotta pee
we'll see
real
if-
quick.
we'll see
I
what
will
the-
BRB.
the problem
Hopefully nothing
really is. But
interesting
yeah,
gets
often
said.
sometimes
Please keep
the
track of
simplest
it. So
things
if there's
boil
something
down to,
interesting,
like,
I
you have to
hear about it
refactor
after.
this and this and about how damage is dealt and how, you know, something with conversion and dexterity and, you know, not dexterity, and it boils down to this like giant refactor of how all this code works, and then it's like, now we can do this thing. Okay, what else did it get us? No, just kind of just that.
And you get issues stuck in this hell effectively of like, you know, someone like read it, they put it in the issue tracker, someone looked into it, they realized there was some annoying detail of it that would require some larger change, and then someone was like, oh well, we don't have time for that, we're doing some other thing, and then it kind of gets put into some like hell of like unversion this, like, when we get time thing, and then it just kind of dies, and that's kind of an unfortunate situation that
I have several thousand assigned to me in a version called unscheduled. I don't know what to do with this. One day there used to be this optimism of like, one day I'll get there, and then I've accepted defeat.
But ultimately, obviously we prioritize things based on how much the community cares about it. So if people do care a lot about it, then obviously we'll get some attention.
So to the point of the question, then, like, what can players do from their perspective for something that they think is important?
Generally, most of the media, like our community team, has a generally good eye on things that are more the larger issues that get brought up. They do get noted down. They do generally get forwarded to us or the relevant people. For the fine detail bug reports, our QA team, it is part of their routine to go through the bug reports forums, and
the forum seems to be the most pertinent place.
That is part of the day-to-day routine of the QA team.
Yeah. So if you want to take like the time to actually document something that is like that you think maybe has been missed or doesn't have enough information or could get the bug report forum.
The slash bug in game comes with like a thing, but that's more about like terrain issues or like something that's like, oh, what the heck, this generated weird, or like, what the heck is this weird thing here? And it does give us a like recreate of the level, so we can come in and then like figure it out. But like if slash bug going a skill is broken, or like my skill can't be supported, those two things are not correlated. So that's like, if it's like broken and like if the level is bad or there's monsters in the level or something,
then it's something cool.
Slash bug is a good way, and then you just
current discussion makes me think I didn't miss anything cool.
Like report a skill or something like that. It's better on the forums for sure.
Okay. A couple popular requests. One was dual stash tab, and also kind of tangential to that was like more affinities. Is this something?
You said dual stash tab. I thought you meant as in two stash.
Right.
What stash tabs are my stash tabs?
You had the quad one. You want to?
I want a halfway between them. It's too much.
Okay.
The items are too small. Dual.
Right, I got it. Okay. Generally speaking, we wanted it to always be that like rollable equipment, things with modifiers don't get specific stash tabs. Like that's the stuff you have to deal with. That's the item management should be in that. But then I understand technically compromised on flasks and bits and pieces, and it's like a little bit of a gray area. But like we so far have drawn the line kind of as just like, I mean, we've literally listed the rest of the stash tabs, and aside from adding new leagues and a whole bunch of new currency items here and there and stuff like that, it's been like, I don't know, I think that might be it. Like, until we add new stuff that requires new affinities, maybe something comes with this league. I think this league is
I don't think they need more affinities. I think they're fine the way they are right now.
Then it's like, I don't know if we will ever really add them for the equipment. I don't want it to be that you literally can just control click. Well, people have their dump tabs and different methodologies of doing that stuff, but I don't want everything to just auto sort. People may disagree with me, and fair enough, you can. But that is ultimately how we want it to be, where it's like there is at least some items you're kind of looking at, like especially with mods. Like obviously with the currency, you know by the icon what it is. With an armor, you want to look at it, see what the mods are, and then make a decision. And sure, a lot of people put it in a tab and then look at it later and make the decision. And I understand with the trade system.
I really like when he does that. Even when I disagree on a principle level, I really like that he's willing to say, you may disagree, but I'm the one in control. Fuck you.
Reading the modifiers, assessing if it's a good item, and then making decisions on it as part of your cycle. And you can work around it. That's up to you. But yeah, the moment that everything is just like somewhere, and you're just like, all right, and do you even know what you got now? You know what I mean? Like, and you could argue, well, I can look at it and then control click it and it auto sort. But I think we kind of drew the line at equipment. And again, I suspect a lot of people are gonna be like, well, you should change that, and I'll be like, well, I don't want to, and we'll be at a disagreement there. And again, I'm all about having a healthy disagreement. I don't mind. So that might just be where it is, and I don't know. We can reevaluate in a couple Q&As from now. You know what I mean?
I think on the affinities tab. On the affinities side of things, chat's mentioning that there's like a few in PoE 1 that are kind of missing, maybe like incubators and stuff.
Oh no, they are missing. It is our intention to add this
Okay, yeah.
For that more like fungibles and stuff like that, like non-modifier stuff, there is an intention to add that, yes.
Oh,
100%.
cool, nice. Good to know. Yeah, cool. Yeah. So that's probably the ones.
Incubator, I agree with. That should have an affinity, because holy shit, it's annoying to sort
And
through.
then we did the whole like, wait, we can just add affinities without the tab. We can add the tab later if we want to. So we still need to go through PoE 1 and add some affinities that aren't that don't have stash tabs for sale or anything like that. So yeah,
done some really good click-based quality of life. Less clicks, I'm always keen to see, like, for a lot of that stuff that's very spam clicky. Something that was asked was the idea of consolidating Harbinger shards in particular. Seems like it's pretty painful to farm for people that enjoy that, but you know, can only do it for a brief stretch. And Octavian was saying there was something about that happening.
I think we did do something with that, and
yeah,
it came up when we initially were speccing all the QOL changes and like things
that
are
is
just,
interesting.
like, easy wins and improvements.
Yeah,
it came up. I just
don't have an answer, but it should be the same as in PoE 2.
If we decided to do it like now, it might actually just
but
be.
I don't know if
patch
there's
notes.
really any
There's like 50,
examples
50,
there.
It might just be like already like.
They don't have an
was
equivalent to an
drop less
incubator,
of
do
them,
they?
Get rid of some of the bad ones and drop more of the good ones, but like fewer overall stacks. Higher more in the stacks and less.
That's interesting.
All the pitter patter that you end up kind of filtering out anyway. So hopefully we did that and then it's in. If we haven't, then it's very clearly on the radar and will come soon.
Cool. Nice. I like this. So you had this thing. It was like, what? We need 10 quality of life.
I don't think they're in PoE 1 exchange.
Update, right? It's like bare minimum.
Aren't they?
I like this. It's been paying off. I think it's. You get those nice little teasers, like pretty hype building in the lead up to it. And I'm like, oh,
you're right. They're not.
Quality of life.
It's
juicy.
very
That's why
important
people
for a
farm
game
for
again with
omens
so much replayability
in
and people coming
trade,
back
yeah.
and playing that you just start.
I remember
remove a lot of
Captain
this
Lance
friction.
farming
You don't wanna
omens
obviously make it
for like a
frictionless,
uber push on his
because some of the fun comes from a little
trade
bit
character.
of friction here and there in some regards, but like there's things where it's like, this obviously doesn't need to be this way.
It's the little things that erode your.
I think it could be in SSF, but I think it was in
honestly,
trade.
There's a little bit of a time factor to it. It's like the longer it's been,
Could have been in
the
a,
more like it's like, okay, at this point, come on now.
No, it wasn't a private league. It was a
We've
league
added
start.
some other like friction and something in some other way here. We can take away from some of it over here. You don't want it to become a spreadsheet, for sure. But at the end of the day, you don't want it to just become. As we add more and more features, more and more content, it's going to. Everything will have their little thing. It's going to become growingly more annoying over time. So it's important as you add some things that require, manual intervention, that you start removing some of the other ones and streamlining them. And so it's because the game is so replayed for so long. It's really, really, really important at this point that we are addressing as many things as we can per league.
Give patch
to make
notes.
sure that,
I've been so
don't just get a
patient.
build-up
I've been a good
of,
boy. Give patch notes.
annoyance over the course of a long period of time.
Yes, and my hands are very much thanking you.
Ever since, who was it, JD Vance, I believe? No, not JD Vance.
Those ones are always a good win. But
The
like, some of
trumped
them,
kid. I forget what his name is. He went like,
there's so many that are just like,
my dad knows I'm a good boy. I'm a good boy.
Yeah,
It's just been on my mind the entire time. It was such like a fucking insta mental damage, psychic shock attack.
So let's just
To hear someone say that
we
like
try and think of as many as
completely out
possible.
of nowhere.
I love my bingo cards. I don't think I've had too many recently, so feel free to put
About,
some more
like,
bingo cards
when
through.
discussing
I
their
love the
dad.
ideas.
Jesus Christ.
Bingo cards
They can be,
going.
look, if you don't have 20
Grown-ass man.
5x5 grid, you can make a 2x2 bingo card. It can, if you can't think of more than 4 things, or just have 4. If you only have one thing, just a single cell bingo card is also fine.
Stretching the definition a little bit.
We do
Easy
take a
bingo.
moment to sit down and go like, what do we want to fix? We crowdsource. We go to our QA. We talk to other designers here who play and stuff, and we're just like, what annoys you the most? And then we try and come
Were
up
they
with
in
something.
exchange at league start though?
It's actually quite a
I don't
fun
know if they were.
process, and we go.
Maybe
I
they
think
were.
This time around, we've got some pretty good winners.
I have seen people farm for them.
No, I mean asynchronous trade, not to mention.
Yeah, I mean that's the big and obvious
That's the
thing,
big
but
one, yeah. Woohoo, pretty nice.
Could be
So,
in
That's for the
private
chat
leagues.
today. I look
I've
forward
seen
to
it as
playing
well.
some more. And,
I just distinctly remember
see you fine folks
a
in,
Captain
3,
Lance character
27.
early on in the league doing it.
Well,
I
thanks
don't know if
everyone
he
for
started in a
watching.
private
Thanks
league or
again,
not.
and,
Hopefully, you
Awesome.
guys enjoy the game.
See you later, folks.
Yeah.
Okay, so is it 20 minutes until the patch notes are out? I don't know if I need to, like, if it's 20 minutes of waiting until the patch notes are out, I don't know if I want to wait for that. Patch notes ready. Job making me listen to audio now. Rip. I might quit the stream for now. Or not quit the stream, end the stream. I'll end the stream and we can post about the patch notes in the Discord. I think that's a nicer way to do it. Because I gotta make food before I go to bed as well. It's midnight here almost. So I will end the stream now, upload everything, and then we can chat about it in the Discord. Goodbye. Talk to you later. Hope your job treats you well. Bye bye.